All right, that's it. That's all you get. No updated version here, 6 o'clock anthem. Good morning, happy Monday morning. You are inside the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen Studios for the Nielson Show. Of course, Dustin Nielson absent today. He'll be off for the next couple of days, tending to a family affair. You got Lieutenant Eric, Joaquin Gage, gracious enough to spend a chunk of his day with us this morning, and YouTube Trev as well, behind the monitors, the various lights, the phones, and everything like that. The guy never takes a day off, so he's here pulling the buttons. And anything you'd like, let Trev know. Of course, you can text anytime as well. Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999. I got a lot of virus updates that'll be popping up on my laptop throughout the morning, so if you hear any bleeps or buzzes, that will be me as we are cobbling together a show this morning. Of course, the old-style 6 o'clock anthem coming in from Jaunty and Victoria. Only the first verse, no second or third, or no Christmas majesty as well. But we do got the conch this morning, and I'd like to kick that off by giving a conch to YouTube Trev and Joaquin Gage this morning for assisting me and carrying me through the morning. So here we go, boys. I love it. God bless you.
It's a proper conch too. We when I was doing it with Tommy, we had the second-rate conch.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't great either, though.
You were teasing me with this, though.
Oh,
right?
it petered out. Let's just say by the end of it, ran out of gas.
Can we get a taste?
Yeah, here. Give me like 20 seconds. 20 seconds.
I'll just go through my install free antivirus now. Is the system under threat? Blah blah blah. This is going to be something that I'm going to have to get through today, but we'll all get through it together. As mentioned, 780-218-9999, the Paris Jewelers inbox, or on the nasty chat as well. One of the various ways you can digest the show throughout the morning. YouTube.com. Just search up Edmonton Sports Talk. Hit the subscribe. Hit the like. Do everything you got to do. If you don't want to be in the nasty chat, fine by us. You can sit around and watch the hilarity or join in as well. We got a lot of people lighting it up already. And, of course, 780-218-9999, the text handle for Paris Jewelers. You can listen on the TuneIn radio app as well. Very easy download. Great app to use in your car while you're driving. Or the old-fashioned way, just edmontonsportstalk.com and listen off the live player on the website as well. And a conch to all of you as well joining us on a Monday morning. A big Monday morning with lots to talk about. And we'll get into it after this conch, I guess, perhaps.
I like that. Yeah, I'm set too. Yeah, okay.
Conch here?
Yeah. Let's give this a try. It's been a while.
Just ran out of steam there a little bit.
I love it. I petition that replaces the original one.
I usually start strong and then peter out.
Is this that'll be 8 o'clock? Like
yeah,
7:45. Yeah. Corey Perry.
Yeah. Oh, we're going there first?
Let's just get at this thing. I don't need to waste any more time here.
Oh, wow.
Official announcement expected today, I guess. But
I think so.
It all seems pretty wrapped up.
I thought it was a great idea when as soon as he became kind of somewhat available, or when the NHL said he's free to negotiate with any other team. Look, for the Oilers, I said it on Two Guys that there should be someone that's been there before. Someone's done it. Anytime you can add 3 Hart Trophy winners to a team, it's great. It's just now trying to find that proper mix. Where does he fit in? I mean, not that Coach Nabla likes to go to the blender that much, but just find where he's going to be most effective, I think. And look, we know how he plays. He's been a thorn in the side of every team he's played against. It's exactly what everyone's been talking about, just that little intangible, an extra guy to pull guys into the fight. I think it's an awesome thing. I can't wait to see him in the new Oilers colors.
It's Bash Brothers D2, putting on the bandanas, him and Kane, right? Straddling that third line. I'd have to agree. The sandpaper aspect of it all. I mean, if you want to kind of get into the losing 3 consecutive cup argument, but I don't know if that's something. Hey, a funny thing for opposing fans, but now that he's here, to quote Darcy Wood Guy McLeod on Twitter, every time he mentions the name, he has to spit, and he'll continue to do so, just due to the history. But a fast fascinating ad for the Oilers. Of course, Dylan Holloway as well, back with the club following the Baker's Dozen win Saturday night, in which Trev, you were on the pre and post. How was the vibes high as usual with that win as well?
Yeah, it was good. It was really good. Of course, it was a Battle of Alberta, right? So the nasty chat was buzzing, but it was a lot of fun. The Battle of Alberta, it's one we always have, schedule or circled on the schedule, right? Like it's a big game. So it was really good. Tommy and I, we had a lot of fun with it pre and post, but the post was really, really good. It was one of our best ones in a while, actually. So yeah, it was really good. I liked it.
Nice to see like two warm bodies in Holloway and Perry. And when you're back up against the cap and everything and making it work, and now you can kind of say, well, maybe a little something done on the right side of the defense or a little insulating in the net, and you're flying.
I like the unis mostly.
Pants.
Yeah, the pants.
It's the pants. It's all about the pants.
They made the Oilers look bigger to me. I don't know, like Darren looked like a giant with those pants.
Yeah,
it was a great game too.
Well, under the indoor lights as well.
Yeah,
no,
they
different than the
popped.
outdoor.
They popped a little bit more. Even the Flames jerseys, I didn't mind as well. I think they should. I don't know if they're going to plan to use them again. Probably not, but.
I'm not Tom Gazzola obsessed, but I do love a good jersey matchup.
Yeah, no, that's...
I like the Oilers on the road in Chicago a couple weeks back. Like, I love that clash. Like,
I like that stuff, too.
Speaking of which, the Blackhawks in town Thursday, which will be highly fascinating to see. Yeah. I mean, that's just... You can't write that stuff.
He's in the lineup by then.
Let's do everything we can to get him into the lineup and get him on the ice for that one. Okay. Good, bad, and ugly as well. We'll set up the show here as well. Obviously, conch requests throughout the opening hour, as we do, and following a weekend that it was. I'm sure a lot of you have a variety of conch requests. Good, bad, and ugly coming up 6:45 as well. You can play along 780-218-9999 or through the nasty chat. Send us your good, send us your bad, and send us your ugly. We will share ours, set them up, and knock them down for you. 7 o'clock, kicking off hour 2. TSN's Darren Dreger will go around the horn. Of course, Corey Perry, the news here locally. Oilers biting off their 13th straight, going for 14. They'll 14 and 15 are certainly not unattainable this week, and the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Chicago Blackhawks rolling to town, albeit Blackhawks playing them rather tough a couple weeks back. But how do you stop this team right now, I guess is the question, right?
I have no clue how you stop this team because they seem like they're scoring from behind the net now. Like
and another
going top
slow,
shelf.
like a good defensive, again, keeping that goal against under 2.
I really so. When I watch, you only go as far as your superstars, I think. And in years past, it's really their maturity is showing. The way that Connor and Leon now are playing, it's not, okay, we just got to go score another goal. They're playing the right way with physicality, doing all the easy things at a high skill level. They're not just trying to play on the other side of the puck. They're doing it on the defensive side and creating chances that way. And that's, you look back to the greats that kind of finally figured it out. And I look at like Joe Sakic, Steve Yzerman, Mike Modano. Those guys were getting north of 100 points every season. But when you look at the seasons where they were more competitive, Stanley Cup caliber teams, winning cups, that point production maybe wasn't where it was in years past, but you saw the subtle difference in their play without the puck, and I think that's what you're seeing. Like I don't know, maybe it's just me, and I've never seen Connor play more physical than he is right now. Like he is finishing way more checks than before. There would be a lot more flybys, which you kind of give him a little leeway, but man, he's vicious out there.
Well, it's got people talking online too, from opposing markets and such, and saying, "Hey, what is going on here? What do we have here? Little nastiness, little dark arts, if you will."
Well, yeah, and you look no further than the Leafs game, right? They count on that big four that are phenomenal offensive players, but you don't see that regular physicality on a regular basis with those guys, and you're seeing it with Leon and Connor, and it like you've heard it numerous times that when your top guys are doing that, it's so hard for someone else lower in the lineup not to play or give it the same type of effort that they're doing. So man, it's crazy. Now you plug in the worm
The worm. We're eating the worm.
Oh yeah,
baby.
This is some tequila I'm here for.
We'll have more on that with Dreger, obviously, and as the show rolls on, Patty Waugh, of course, back as well behind an NHL bench, looking clean shaven, looking cool. He gets the win in overtime against the Stars. Thoughts on that, just quickly as well, seeing him back in the game. I love it from just a neutral attitude point of view. Another story to follow.
Well, I think we all thought he would be back in the league a lot sooner.
Yep.
I mean, that's a weird kind of fallout in Colorado too. How they
unceremoniously type of exit to the,
I would have loved to have. That should have been the Netflix special part of what happened there. But he went back to junior and took time and kind of. I like
much success,
tons of success, and that I remember watching a lot of that Memorial Cup, and that team was. They were undistinguishable line to line, right? The way that they played, and so. I mean, he was up for coach. Or did he win Coach of the Year, or was up for Coach of the Year? Like he's the guy can almost do no wrong. I don't know how that's going to translate on the island. And him and Lou button heads.
We're still in the honeymoon stage. So hey, what did he say? He was the only one he talked to, I think, during the interview process.
Yeah.
Signed, sealed, delivered. So
we'll see what. It's interesting for sure.
I'm here for it.
And it's great for another thing to talk about, especially with Patrick Waugh.
Lights up the league a bit, right?
Yeah.
You had another light to the tree in the National Hockey League. So cool bet. We'll go all over that with Dreger, everything around the hockey world. Cool bet Canada hotline of the day. We'll be doing a little something with that. I know the boys out in Cool Bet probably still drying their tears following the Buffalo Bills yet again exiting the postseason to yet again the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Chiefs doing it on the road, which is another chapter in Patty Mahomes' storied career. Travis Kelce doing what he was doing. I didn't really mind the Taylor Swift stuff, as I was keeping a distance from it. But now when you're the opposing team in the Swift episode, like you've become now an episode in this documentary they're going to do. Now I don't want any more of the Kelce family. Like Kelce jumps out of a suite, and it's I try to jump out of a suite at a game. What am I? I'm getting tackled by right? Why did the rules not apply? Shirts off, all this stuff. He was having a good time.
Yeah, I guess he was like tailgating before.
That was nice. He went up to the bowling. He took the bowling ball shot or whatever. Yeah. I'm fine with that, but man, like you guys setting an example. Children are watching.
Oh yeah, well yeah, and exposing yourself like that. It's crazy.
For shame.
I don't know. I've listened to a few of those podcasts. I like those guys.
They're good. They're good guys,
they're really good. And I think the two Bears, like the two comedians, were talking about them, and they were getting mad at those two because they're getting it right so much with it. Jason Kelce just seems like the salt of the earth guy. I kind of actually had I've never been an Eagles fan, and I kind of was getting onto that side of the fence and go. I almost learned the song, for crying out loud. So
I was with the bird.
I was upset a little bit, but I'm here for it. I think the Taylor Swift thing's great. Jason Kelce's great. The whole how big do you got to be that who Jason Kelce and Travis Kelce's mom is at this point too? Like she's part of it, and
I don't know if you saw, but row 2, I think in the box was one Zach Caleros from your
Zach
Winnipeg
Caleros,
Blue Bombers,
I know.
Former Cincinnati Bearcat who knows the Kelce's quite well, but he's just, not trying to no selfies from him being like, hey, he's just sitting in the back enjoying himself, don't show me, don't show little old me,
Yeah, that's the. No,
classic
everyone wants to
CFL
go.
guy.
Yeah, that's the box everyone wants to go to. That's great.
You got Zach Caleros in there. Mike Tanier, though, will be by from the Messenger. Always a sweet conversation with him on a Monday morning. He will recap everything that went down in the divisional rounds and get you set for Championship Sunday. Of course, the Lions advancing as well. Earlier yesterday, getting past the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It will be Lions and 49ers in the evening game next Sunday, as the Chiefs will visit Baltimore to kick things off next Sunday afternoon. Mike Tanier, 740 from the Messenger for all your National Football League news. Kind of easy trivia, 3 questions too many. Brought to you by Mr. Mike Steakhouse Casual and Park Master. That's coming up around 805, 810 in that range. And then, of course, TSN's Ryan Rashad from the Got Your Back podcast. He hopped on a pod last night as well during all the madness down in Buffalo. We'll get his thoughts certainly on Corey Perry, the Oilers capping off the Baker's dozen in Calgary Saturday night, and the week ahead for Edmonton. All ahead of the wrap for 8:40 for William Huff. If you want your place to look as good as this, we'll get into that around 8:40 later this morning. Once again, get your conch requests in. You got about 45 minutes to do so. 780-218-9999 is the Paris Jewelers inbox. Valentine's Day, Gager, just around the corner. If you're looking for something special for me or your wife.
Made-up holiday.
Well, it's time to find something for the one you love at Paris Jewelers, Canadian and family-owned, 22 locations across the country. Means if you're listening out in Ontario, Quebec this morning, let us know. We'll put you on the map, but you can also visit a Paris Jewelers near you. Go see our friends at PJ's. They'll look after you, or you can hop online, www.parisjewelers.com. Don't sleep on this one. Get Valentine's Day out of the way, just like I did with Christmas. Keep the receipt, and everybody's happy. You can go back and get whatever you want after you make the wrong choice and purchase something that they don't want. So Paris Jewelers is the inbox, 780-218-9999. Norman, a Combine. Good morning, Nasty's a conch for the Texans and Bills fans out there. Couldn't agree more. Actually, Trev, do you want to do the stupid conch for us because we lost? All those AFC losers out there, including myself. Sounds like you whittled that thing like 10 minutes ago.
The end of it just weasels off. Oh, I love it. That's so good.
If you want the wet one, please be specific. Or if you want the regular one as well, just say regular. We'll make it work. Can I get a conch for my wife and my family as we're headed off to Mexico this morning? Northside Sandwich. Look at you, humble brag. Trust as well, you'll be listening while you're down there, so please let us know the region or the locale, and we'll pin it on the map.
I just saw Melbourne, Australia. Is that on the map already?
Melbourne.
Melbourne. In the Nasty Chat.
We've been on the continent of Australia. We went to New Zealand, I do believe.
So
yeah.
Might have to get the pins out on that one.
We'll get Zach to come on.
Melbourne, yeah, he loves doing that pin stuff. Eh? Melbourne, Australia, mate. Yeah. You're a Mexico guy, though, hey? And you're, not at all?
No, well, I've only been there. I've been there twice. I went there once with, at the end of the season with a bunch of guys, and then took my family the other time. So both were great.
But just once with the family. This isn't everybody goes every year.
Yeah,
You haven't. And I've never been.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, you got to go.
I mean...
I'll go once, probably my life, but
yeah, no, it's good, it's great. I mean, go to an all-inclusive and eat,
say.
sit on the beach, right? And when you go with your kids, it's more of a business trip, right? You're trying to get them happy and stuff. And when you have the teenage angst, it's always I think my son was more upset that he was missing Halloween with his friends at home. I'm like, we're taking you to Mexico. Man.
I don't want to get a tan, Dad.
Sitting in the room. I mean, it was fun. Went scuba diving and stuff, and did the whole thing in the pool. And
East or West side? What's everybody's got their
West.
Okay.
That was Puerto Vallarta. I was in.
Yeah.
I think so.
Put
it was
on the
good.
map, yeah.
Yep.
And Claris was there too. Go Blue Bombers. Yes, Spruce Grove Chad. We know you don't got to rub that one in again. Gave Zach Claros his love, and we'll leave it at that. Can we get a conch for the 11 remaining teams in the AJHL? Wow, what a text for that one.
We were going to talk about that.
Well, I was looking at getting a guest on this morning, and there's quite a, shall we say, leash on people that work around the league or to comment on these things. Of course, it's an ongoing situation. But yes, the news over the weekend of the Big Five making a move to the BCHL. I guess your overviewing thoughts on this, just from a 10,000-yard gaze, if you will.
Yeah, I'm not well versed in this whole, but from what I understand is Hockey Canada has been a little bit difficult to deal with in certain aspects, and some people have decided to go their own route, and this is another sign of. I mean, I kind of like it because just for the entertainment factor of what's going to happen with these teams, but this is becoming an all-star league. There's going to be a lot of eyes on it. Some of these teams, I said this is getting on par competing with the Western Hockey League at certain times. So. Yeah, competition's good between leagues, and it provides a really good product with great hockey with young players. And we were talking about it a while ago. I always thought that they should raise the level or the age limit in the Western League to allow more 20-year-olds to play. Just
like the cap for each team, going from your 4
because you're only allowed
to
3.
3? Is it 3 now? Yeah.
And it's just, I think that there's some late bloomers, and you know, having a young kid put all this pressure on himself to get drafted at 17, I don't think you need to do this, because only in few instances are players good enough to jump into the NHL, right? I mean, Leon Draisaitl's one of the best players on the planet, and he couldn't crack the lineup, you know, when he was that age. So by allowing that age limit to increase, I think you're obviously playing against older players. Younger players spend more time in, you know, the U17s, U18s, because the maybe they're just not ready yet. And get rid of some people that want to go the NCAA route. Get rid of that rule that allows you can't go play, or you're considered a professional from the WHL. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of guys go to the Tier 2.
Because what would the rule in place? What would be the pro for leaving it like that, or why is it there in the first place?
Yeah,
right?
it's been there for years. So if you play a certain amount of time with the Western League team, you can't, or you have to sit out a year in the NCAA. So I'd have to brush up on the rules. They might have changed a little bit. I'm ancient.
It's a fascinating time, and perhaps we can pry Dreger's mind a bit more on that, and to kind of see maybe what's to come from all this. But certainly change is afoot, and that usually rubs people the wrong way whenever there's and it's just, it is kind of awkward as well mid-season, and you're going around looking at these teams and proud member of the like, you know, and it's like a little awkward there. Good morning, boys. Can I get a conch for my son celebrating his 25th birthday up in Grand Prairie? Cheers, William Mike Spear. We can do the 25 grand number, hey?
Nice.
25 years old. You were
I think, gosh, where was I? It's a haze back then.
I get that.
I was probably stopping pucks. I think in Hamilton.
Pre-Europe, eh?
Yeah, pre-Europe. So maybe Hamilton.
What's the age that's the Europe divide? Like
28.
That was
that's when
you became a man.
Decided to be an international man of mystery.
You're better off for it. I love European Gage whenever I can. Maybe a few stories as well, maybe as the morning trickles.
If something jogs the memory.
Absolutely. Oh, boy. Try to pry it out of him, 780-218-9999 this morning. We also got, with that text number, text of the day, of course, is on the line. A&W Spicy Dill Pickle Mama Burger is back, and now it's available as a buddy burger starting at just $3.99. Grass-fed beef burgers topped with pickles, a slice of onion, real cheddar cheese, and slathered in a creamy, spicy dill pickle sauce. Limited time only at A&W, and you can get one of those today, basically for free. If you win text of the day, $20 on the line to A&W, 780-218-9999. If you got something to say, something really spicy, much like those sandwiches, text it in. If you're in the nasty chat as well and you got something, a real heater in there, copy, paste, send it in, text it in, get your name on the text, and you could be winning that $20 to A&W, where you could be getting a handful of spicy dill pickle mama burgers or the buddy burgers as well for a limited time only. You like that jingle, hey? When's the last time you heard that?
Oh, that brings back tons of memories, because I used to go to A&W had the best root beer milkshakes. The only place I know that it does around here is, or they still did, it was out in Stony Plain. They still had the root beer.
Do they?
They were. Yeah, they're the only ones that still made it. I don't know if they do anymore, but yeah, every time I go to A&W, I ask if they make the root beer milkshake. But going back to the Whistle Dog, it was a bonding moment with my daughter at the time, because driving her to dance, and I go, "Do you want a Whistle Dog?" And she didn't want one, and so I went in and I got it, and she was, "Can I have a bite?" And then she devoured the Whistle Dog. So that was, she keeps asking, when is the Whistle Dog coming back? This is just like Patrick Waugh. Hey, he'll go away for a bit, and then he'll come back. Good morning, guys. Got a conch starting a 4-week vacation. Absolutely. Let us know where. I'd love to know. Maybe put it on the map. I trust, of course, you'll be listening while on vacation as well. Pat
Matt Janik's in the nasty chat. Spicy are the Buffalo Bills employees turning off the hot water after the game. If they're that sour and losing pretty low to do that, that's got to drum up some memory from some backwater rink in Eastern Europe for you. People turning off, they're unconnecting the plumbing or something like that?
No, it was way worse than that. They in Mannheim, we were right above the male washroom, and the urinal line broke. So it basically urined our room on the one side. You couldn't even go in there. It was like going into an ammonia plant. Like you couldn't breathe in there. It was just disgusting. Thank God everything was on the other side, because guys had to get all new clothes. Like they got tracksuits from the other team because everything was soaked in Hefeweizen.
Well, I mean, and a mistake as well, right? Just an accident.
Yeah, I think that was an accident. Not on purpose.
Of course not.
I've never had a team like give us a rain out or do something like that.
Nothing like that, eh?
I mean, come on, Bills fans. I know it's been rough for you, but...
Well, just the mood there, too. I mean, I know it kind of comes down to the kick, and historically wide right is a thing, and I'm sure that was just needling Bills fans, but you had chances, you had opportunities. I was telling you off air, full credit to the Chiefs. They came in there. There was questions about the offense, questions about Travis Kelce. He showed up. Patrick Mahomes doesn't do anything but show up in big moments, and the defense played good. The Buffalo Bills defense couldn't stop him. They were winning that line of scrimmage battle on the offensive side. They're moving the chains. They lacked that deep threat, big play. Yeah. But Kansas City just did them in handfuls.
Yeah, no, and I mean, they were lucky to be in that situation to tie it up. Just with that fake punt too. I was like, geez, you still had lots of time. That was.
You think you're Dan Campbell?
Yeah,
Sean.
That was terrible. But you know, Josh Allen, great. Like fun to watch, but some of his decision making, I think, he likes to roll the dice on certain things, and I mean Patrick Mahomes does too, and their ability to create things out of nothing is unbelievable. But the look at that long bomb that he threw to Diggs, right through the hands. That there were so many opportunities for the Bills, and I was I was leaning more towards the Bills I remember living through those 4 Super Bowls or whatever when they lost and Jim Kelly and
unless you're in the division, how do you hate them?
Yeah,
like what do you
it's so
you've been
tough.
Through it.
I mean, first OJ, now this,
That's what they say. That Mike Tanier, of course, 7:40 to digest the end of I do have a feeling though it's kind of the end of a mini dynasty thing. Not that they won anything to call it a dynasty, but you know what I mean? The end of a mini era, I guess, for a better term in Buffalo. Josh Allen, of course, will remain. They made the changes on the offensive side. I don't know if Brady in the interim tag, but I do wonder, so many injuries on defense and a lot of guys that may not be coming back. I mean, the Baltimore Ravens win the game yesterday. These two teams beat the crap out of each other and have to play two. You got to be sitting around feeling pretty good. I think they didn't really get out of second gear in their win over the Texans. And when you're sitting around with that bye week, you can either be sleepwalking into it or you're well rested. And certainly the Niners and Ravens look good for it for Championship Sunday. Kenworth Kelly chimes in. Absolutely home from the patch on days off. He's watching on YouTube, so I think we already gave a conch for him. He wanted one for the Perry signing as well. Tommy Rubella chimes in. He's coming after that A&W $20 gift card with some spice this morning. Eric Holt, more like Eric Host. That's a real deep cut. So he's maybe a pole position right now for that text of the day. $20 to A&W. Bob Lawblaw in Lloyd heading to Cancun. We'll be listening, of course. I'll give you a conch. Safe travels there, Bob Lawblaw, and your law blog. Arrested Development?
Yeah.
Okay,
Bob.
Nobody. Dusty and Matt don't know any. I'm like a guy alone here.
For a guy that watches a lot of stuff that's funny, like you have to watch Arrested Development. Like it's
at least one run through.
At least just the first season.
Yeah, that's all you need.
That's all you need. But just the cameos of it. Well, not cameos, but when the other, like when the Fonz,
Martin Short.
Oh God, it's like it's so good. So good.
Yeah, keep those texts flying in 702-899-99 or in the nasty chats. What do we got going on here? RCN's mixing it up. Next move, Patty Maroon in at the deadline. Maybe. Well, but okay, and Holloway, I guess, in addition from, bring him up for some back six insulation there. Of course, Corey Perry, that announcement expected to be made later today. I guess in terms of lineup, you'd be sacrificing.
It's funny because like a few months ago, we're all talking, what is Ken Holland going to do? How is he going to improve this lineup? And what's happened over this last little while is made his decisions a little bit easier, I think, with the play of McLeod. I loved Holloway's play before he got injured, and it seems like he's really not missed a step with that kind of physical play, getting to the hard areas, playing a little bit safer, so to speak. So if he can start getting on the board a little bit, that'd be great. Poor Connor Brown. I mean, he's the Bills of the Edmonton Oilers.
But I guess you can't all be flying, and him on the PK. I mean, there are spots you could argue that he's earning his keep.
I just mean he has a wide open net and puts it back. I think that was going to miss the net anyway. Like, as
somebody said, it's hilarity at this point. Like you almost have to, and then maybe the pressure's off, and maybe you find an easier way into that place.
And really, with them winning, the only time you want him to maybe catch fire is when starting game 83, right? Maybe he gets a little of the Pisani juices flowing and goes nuts, right? So that's
he's saving it.
Yeah, that's save it for that point. I mean, they're winning in a way that provides stability, and what they're learning by playing in these close games, it's so crucial to have that experience going into the playoffs, because that's, you get into those extra period games, extra overtimes, and and you feel comfortable being uncomfortable. That's going to bode well for that team.
Yeah, so Holloway picking up an assist there Saturday night. I think his underlying numbers were quite good. The analytics community, everybody was in full refrain. There was no like, he's doing great. Oh, no, he sucks. Everybody was kind of, so it's good to see. And as you mentioned too, prior to the injury, he was turning on and finding his game. So these are all, and you mentioned a guy like McLeod answering the bell. Ken Holland's sitting there. I mean, as opposed to the beginning of the season when absolutely nothing was going right, coaching, whatever. It's good to see. But where do they do? Where do they turn next? What do they do next? 780-218-9999 or in the nasty chat as well. Let us know the player, the position, anything you want. What should be next on Ken Holland's honeydew list or cantaloupe list or whatever you want to call it? Right. There. Pat Maroon, RCN mixing things up, but maybe they go on the right side of the D, maybe a little YouTube Trev. What would you suggest as far as a potential next move, or where would you go?
Well, yeah, like Gager said, it's been solved internally, right? Like it's helped a lot. Like all the questions have kind of been answered with the elevation of Clowder and Fogle, and everything's looking really, really good right now. And as far as I think what I do, the team's been excellent in front of Stuart Skinner, right? I honestly think Stuart Skinner is only going to be as good as the team is in front of him. And when the team is playing so good in front of him, he's looked excellent, right? So I think the goalie question's that's done, right? Like you're gonna have to trade an arm and a leg to get a good goalie out there, and the options aren't really good right now. Like what are you gonna do? Pickard's been fine in his starts, right? So the goaltending questions, I think like those they should have simmered down. If you're gonna get something, I wouldn't mind seeing maybe another replacement for Desharnais, just to have that extra option. But like as far as getting Corey Perry, it's just another, it hasn't quite happened yet, but we're expecting it is going to happen. It's just another great option. Like it solves so many. He's a right shot, that helps a lot. You can slot him in the top six if you want. You can put him in in the bottom six. So it's with Fogle and with McLeod doing so good, it brings so much more options. And you talk about the experience, the regular season, and the Stanley Cup playoffs experience that a guy like Corey Perry provides. It's going to be awesome, and you really want a guy like that on your team. You do, especially in the playoffs, right? He's going to get under the skin. You see the highlights of I think, or not the highlights, but the clips of him squirting his water bottle in Jeff Carter's glove, right? Like he's always mixing stuff up.
Arts, baby.
Alex Semin, he's on the bench, and he comes by, he steals his stick, right? Like that's stuff, like it's irritating, right? And it's so good to have that on your team as opposed to be playing against that in the playoffs.
Sure.
So I think, to answer your question, the answer would be maybe a bottom 6 guy, just more depth guys, really. But as far as the goaltending conversation, Stuart Skinner's been lights out in this 13. Yeah. I'm so fine. Like I'm totally content with having Stuart Skinner and Pickard right now.
Well, boys, and Olivier Rodrigue, look. Would you entertain anything in terms of that? I don't know, you're making that work in paper and all that, but, I mean, he's certainly been shining down in Bakersfield, or you just let that simmer?
Oh, yeah. To me, the Oilers are in a really good position with all 4 guys, because even now Jack Campbell, his save percentage over the last 7 games is 9-1 or something like that. So you have 4 guys all playing at a very high level. I say Pickard's been great. You can't put him in now. You have to ride Skinner until this streak ends.
Like the team streak is one thing, but his individual one right now is hot as hell.
Well, you don't want to be the guy coming in and ruining the streak too, right? So you ride Skinner till he bucks you at this point. But look at Vegas. Like, this is what I was thinking. Okay, so you have Rodrigue playing well, you have Campbell playing well. Pickard's come in and done quite well in a backup role. Skinner's on fire. Vegas had to go through 4 guys to get to their guy last year because of injuries. So this is perfect. You don't have to, in my mind, you don't have to do a thing, because everyone's, except for Pickard, essentially, everyone's playing and everyone's getting confidence. So if something does happen, you can plug and play with some guy that you have that's playing quite well. So all the talk about getting another goaltender at this point is ridiculous. You don't have to do anything right now.
For what you would potentially be giving up, there was no reason to.
The only reason
maybe another guy falls in your lap conveniently, gets a contract torn up by another team. And
or if there's a major injury on another team, Campbell's playing quite well. Like, then other teams' ears perk up and goes, "Hey, what's the availability of this guy?" And they go, "There you go." And then they get rid of that $5 million.
And for all the memes and the tweets and everything surrounding Campbell, it's good to see an asset get back appreciated, especially when he's under that size. I mean, you want to get that thing going in some shape or form, in some direction, perhaps. Donkey goes on to add Memorial Cup winner and Corey Perry, Olympic gold medal, the resume is stacked. Yeah, but to echo your points as well, and it's the pestiness of it and adding to this. I have felt for years. I mean, they've needed a lot of things, don't get me wrong, over the years. But that pestiness and dark arts, it's always been something that's beaten them as a team, the Oilers. And I do feel that having this guy, like wrestling, you got to have these guys around to kind of...
The accidentally on purpose stuff is you need. And I mean... I can't wait to talk to Louis DeBrusk, because when you watch Perry, he likes to camp out in between the benches and kind of negotiate the peace treaty between and there's constant chatter. And Louis is going to have to be a little bit quicker on the mute button in there.
I am here for it.
I can't wait. I'm going to have Louis on speed dial to see what Perry's talking to the other team about at that point. But it's so crucial to have the team thinking about, not about winning, about Corey Perry and Evander Kane. This is going to raise Evander Kane's kind of level of nastiness too, I think, a little bit. Because, after the whistle, staying in front of the net, an extra couple jabs at the goalie, covering the puck, just possible little refreshment from the goalie's water bottle, like you mentioned. This is good. This is a good thing.
The worm. I love it. The whole Rodman attachment and everything. I am here for it. Yeah. 780-218-9999 is the number to text or get at us in the nasty chat. It is the Nielson Show. Sans Dustin Nielson this morning. Myself, Lieutenant Eric, Joaquin Gage, YouTube Trev, of course, behind the monitors. Sports update now? Is that what we did?
Yeah. We're 10 minutes over, but let's do it. Let's do it. No, it's all good. Yeah, let's get it going.
Music going here if you'll entertain me there. Yeah. Patty Mahomes tossing for a pair of touchdowns as the Chiefs would knock off the Bills 27-24. Chiefs advancing to take on the Ravens Sunday afternoon in the AFC Championship game. Earlier in the day, Lions getting past Tampa 31-23. Detroit will visit San Francisco Sunday evening. And you could join the entire Edmonton Sports Talk crew for Super Bowl 58 at the Century Casino Sports Bar Lounge, Century Casino Fort Road, February 11th. Menu items under $10, drink specials, your chance at prizes throughout the day, and a meet and greet with the one and only Renee. Veteran forward Corey Perry has a new team in the Edmonton Oilers. TSN's Ryan Rashad confirming the two sides have agreed to a deal, with an official announcement likely coming later today. TSN hockey insider Chris Johnston also adding that the deal is for the remainder of the season and is expected to include prorated salary and performance bonuses. Oilers knocking off the Flames Saturday night for the club's 13th straight win. They'll go for 14 in a row tomorrow night at home to Columbus, ahead of a date with the Blackhawks from Rogers Place on Thursday night. Elsewhere yesterday, Patrick Waugh gets his first win back in the NHL as the Islanders knock off the Stars 3-2 in overtime. Leafs dumping the Kraken 4-1, handing Seattle its fourth straight loss, 6 games around the NHL tonight. Oil Kings dropping one of the Blades yesterday, 4-1 your final. Edmonton back in action Friday when they visit the Red Deer Rebels. Lakers over Portland, 134-110 in NBA action. Raptors host the Grizzlies tonight in one of 8 games around the association. Sports Update brought to you by Green Plan, providing you with award-winning environmental planning and consulting services, whether it's municipal, industrial, or residential. Plan it right with Green Plan. Visit green-plan.com or give them a call. 780-455-4292.
The Nielson Show, featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
You're back. It's the Nielson Show. Lieutenant Eric in the host chair this morning, joined by Joaquin Gage. Of course, 2 guys and a goalie, and the Hangout and elsewhere around Edmonton Sports Talk and YouTube. Trev, who never takes a day off. Hello Hockey, Goodbye Hockey, all the hockey shows, pre and post game right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Saturday was good for you, hey? And with all the shows.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I stayed here. I stayed here actually all day. I got a lot of work done. So yeah, I know it's been good. I love it. It's what I love to do, man. That's why I moved to Edmonton. It's been a lot of fun. And Hello Hockey was great. If you haven't watched that, definitely it's on our YouTube, or you can look on our other streaming platforms. And then, pre and post was a lot of fun. Me and Tommy we've got something special cooking there. And when Gager hops on, it's sweet. Cass, it's definitely, you should definitely check it out. We have a lot of fun with it.
You get into the Donairs this weekend at all?
No, we have a few coupons laying around. So it was pizza. We went to Panago.
Oh, pizza pie.
It was solid. Yeah, very good, very good.
I eventually got my Donair last night. It was after the football game. I ordered it as the football game was kicking off. With the weather and everything else. This was the longest Donair trip. I had this fellow named Hyman who picked it up, but it was Himan. I was like, NHL All-Star vote. Hyman, this is going to be great. He apparently picked it up. He was right, and then it just went away. And then it was back to 45 minutes. You're preparing your order, and I was like, well,
really?
So I guess a fellow named Hyman, an individual, picked up my Donair and stole it, and I was bumped back in the queue for some reason. Eventually, I ate a loser Donair after the football game. I sat there pathetically eating a cold Donair, and it serves me right, I guess. What a wrap up to a day. Jocelyn asks, are the Oilers peaking too early? 780-218-9999. They do have a pretty tight schedule, I guess you could argue, in the second half. More crush of games, you could argue.
Yeah, but they've had to do this to get back to where they should have been.
They're going to have to continue it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you always wonder, are they peaking too early? Everyone has to peak at the right time. If they were struggling right now, you would be more worried about they're not playing well. You want so it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. At this point, they're playing a really solid brand of hockey where they're like I said, they're comfortable playing in these types of games that you see more of in the postseason. So. I don't look at it that way. This is all learning how to win, doing it in different ways. The goal that Gagne scores from behind the net. I've never seen a guy shoot the puck from behind the net and go shelf on the other side, top glove on the other side. Like things are going.
Just how you draw it.
They're going right for the Oilers.
Well, Draisaitl the other night too, backhanding it from the goal line just randomly, and but no, it leaves them a game in hand on the Kings and a point up on them for the third spot in the Pacific right now. 6 points back of the Golden Knights with 4 games in hand. Vegas maybe getting back to winning ways. They won 3 straight, albeit a bit of a banged up Golden Knights squad right now. Running into a bit of injury troubles. The Canucks still perched atop the Pacific on 66 points. You want that third? You hunt down the Golden Knights 2-3, right? You want to be in that spot. I mean, some people saying you maybe want to get a wild card position and play one of those Canadian. I don't know what to make of the Kings. I really don't know what to make of the Golden Knights myself right now. I think the Canucks and the Jets have illustrated who they are, but certainly in the Pacific right now, it is kind of toss-up.
Every team is going to be very difficult at this point. There's no easy path through. And I mean, if I'm a team, I'm more worried about the Oilers than the Oilers playing anyone else at this point. So if every other team's looking around and go, oh my gosh, the Oilers are just a wagon right now. No, they are. It's crazy they become the first Canadian team to win 12 games in a row. So this is it's fun to watch. I'm enjoying this ride so far. I'm not looking too far ahead. I just want to see what
you should be
and enjoy this. Like we all said at the beginning of January, looking at it, and even at the end of December, there we're like, geez, the Oilers have something. They can do something special here if they really buckle down and they have a chance to really run the table in January. They've done that. They've put themselves in striking distance of possibly getting a home ice advantage that first round, which I think is quite important. We've seen it work for the Oilers the last few seasons. So if they can get that, perfect. But as who you play, I'd rather them feel. I don't care who we play. They have to worry about us.
Absolute. And as far as rides go, why do you want to know the roller coaster? You don't want to know all the dips and dives ahead of time, right? Like that's the fun of the ride.
Fun.
Speaking of fun, good, bad, and ugly right now. If you have a good, bad, and ugly from the weekend, please share. We'd love to read it. Nasty chat or 780-218-9999, the Paris Jewelers inbox. Joaquin, I'll start with you. Do you have any, what is your good from the weekend in terms of either a written article, a sound bite, a result, anything from the sporting realm or otherwise?
Oh, the good, I got to go to the Corey Perry thing. I was quite excited because there was a lot of talk saying that there
was smoke. It started a little while back.
But he also said that he didn't want to come to Canada, which puzzled me a bit. Because he already played in Montreal, so and did well there.
And also right now, Canada, I mean, if there's one team you kind of want to get on the ride with.
Well, yeah, if you're anywhere, especially this is what I think we talked about years later. If the Oilers can establish, maybe they guys didn't want to come here at that point. But if they can, Leon gets going, Connor gets going, their window for winning cups, maybe
it's the place to be. You turn it into that.
Yeah. Some maybe so you get a free agent who possibly hasn't won, or maybe looking for one more, as the case with Perry. So it's quite alluring to come to the Oilers at this point. This guy's been to the dance a few times in a row and hasn't gotten that second cup. So I think looking at the family too, that's another thing that you always. When I watch pro sports and when they lose, it's crushing to me because that feeling of not getting to what you set out to accomplish at the beginning, and seeing Corey Perry's family and his kids crying last time in the Cup final, and possibly getting another crack at it. It's a good story, I think.
Well, and that everybody can crow on about the consecutive Cup final losses, but that is the narrative now too, that you get this team over the line who have been struggling to jump through that window as well. So that kind of adds to it all as well. My good, I'll be going to the NFL, and since he is not here today to bask in his glory, the Detroit Lions victorious. I said all season long, I remember week 1, we were kind of sitting here, it was the advent of Edmonton sports talk, and I said, it's your conference to lose. Yeah. Oh, no. You don't want to, as you do. I mean, nobody wants to have that, especially as a Lions fan. But here they are, 14-5 now, 31-23 over the Bucks. Full credit to Baker Mayfield. He looks like he's fit in. I mean, he's found a place, and I like that Bucs team. Hard to hate them coming out of that division, putting up a good fight on the road. But for the Lions, I mean, this is kind of like a Bills thing all over again. How can you hate him? And a great story, and I think one that I'll certainly be now turning my focus and attention to as a neutral fan. But Jared Goff, 2 touchdowns. Aiden Hutchison, defense. Born and raised Michiganer, and standing around just taking it all in post game. That's sports, and it's these moments that really you kind of. Bucks fans, even you stand up and you give a light round of applause because this is just something. Jahmyr Gibbs doing what he's doing, an electrifying player. Amon-Ra St. Brown putting up another major, and Dan Campbell, of course. I still remember when he was hired back at the old place, and I was playing all the clips for Dustin. Yeah. We were having a hoot, and as you do, and he was like, "Oh boy, what have I gotten myself into with this guy?" And here they are, and that's and kind of an Oilers example too. Of you mentioned players not wanting to go to this place, and it's got this stink about it, right? This stink. To turn that thing around, I mean, this is one of those brands in pro sports that there are only a few where you're like, yeah, that's never gonna, and they've done it, and here they are. I mean, this is, I said even house money after last week, but they got another home playoff game. Now you're going to San Francisco with nothing to lose.
Yeah, I at first when I got the call, as if I could do this morning, I thought, Dusty's just so pumped he can't make it.
So drunk that he won't be able to.
Did he go to Detroit? But I like they were mentioning on the broadcast how, I mean, being in a dome stadium and having that many people, 65,000 people, all quiet when the offense is going, and then the change when the defense, that's got to be something. I'd love to go to a Lions game
and
right
such
now.
a starved fan base, right?
They're just
they didn't.
so
I think they're still there.
Yeah,
went home, right? Like, why would you?
Not. Yeah. So, I love it. I think just from everything that's gone on, from biting kneecaps to this point, it's great, and I can't wait to see Dusty. He's probably bought a new suit.
Well, he's got to buy. You got to. I don't know why. Maybe the merch right now you can be buying high type of deal.
Oh yeah, I guess. Maybe,
but I mean, he's got to spruce up the look. I would say. I mean, you made it to Championship Sunday. Whatever. I think this justifies at least a new cap.
Does he come in with a Goff jersey?
Goff. Which player should Dusty get? 780-218-9999. Nasty chat as well. Maybe a visor.
Yeah, visor, really, a coach visor.
A coach visor, exactly. He'd look great in a visor. The bad from the weekend, I'll go to, because I think everybody knows where my ugly is probably going to be going. I will go to the AJHL stuff. I am smooth brain on all this stuff. I am not going to try to get into the depths and the real... this happened behind this closed door, whatever. And we got Darren Dreger coming up. Perhaps he can kind of delve into this more and maybe a little more with Rishaug as well at around 8:20. But it's bad mid-season when you have teams, traveling to play a place one day, and then this comes out, and they're gonna leave, and it's your big dogs of the league, and they're going to this other league, and people are. It's just to me, it's like your parents are fighting, and you're like, oh, and I'm just gonna go to the other room now and kind of try to amuse myself as best as I can. It's just a bad look all around, right? I think there are ways to do this. Maybe this is the way to do it, though. Maybe you do just thief in the night type of thing and say, yep, we're going. You don't wait till the end of the season ceremoniously when everything's done. You just strike whenever you strike. But this, too, has been kind of percolating, and there have been talks about this for years happening. But my bad will just be the fallout from the AJHL and the Big Five teams apparently bolting to the BCHL.
Yeah, it's tough because, there's a history there. There's so many good players that have came out of the AJHL and gone on to success. And obviously there's something fundamentally wrong with how things are run to get to this point where teams are looking to go somewhere else. So
you talk about banning now.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, there's obviously some major infighting with with what's going on. I don't really understand it. We'll have to get Sean Bell's got his finger on the pulse of this a little bit more. So I'd like to.
Perhaps you can come hang out later in the week.
Yeah, I'd like to get I'd like to see a little bit more of what he says about the whole situation.
Is that also your bad from the weekend? Are we sharing?
Well, I'm trying to find it, but I can't remember the name. The girl who was
what you showed me earlier.
Yeah, Clark.
Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark gets railroaded after a game as the fans rush. Come on, that's really bad. Like,
what's bad? Her flop. Her dive?
Yeah, well,
she
it's a little
sold that one.
She sold it a little bit, but I mean, you can't go and hurt the athletes after the game. That's
form.
I mean, yeah, and you're putting yourself in harm's way. It's not.
Well, once you get on the ice, or you cross the stripes, or you get on the hard, like that's.
We all watch
Bets are off now.
Malice of the Palace, right?
Sure.
Like you can't have that kind of stuff anymore.
Yeah, if you haven't seen the video as well, I found it earlier, but I'll
I was looking for it again. I'm sorry, I
retweet
lost
here.
it. Yeah, it's. I mean, yeah, she kind of.
They all walked away, right? Like nobody's too hurt for
bad,
yeah.
So you heard her in her interview. Yeah, I listened to the interview afterwards, and it's like I could have been injured, right, and miss games. So yeah.
Well, miss games it could also affect. Like I mean,
yeah, it's coming up to the madness here.
Yeah, exactly. The ugly though for me will be Buffalo and the Buffalo Bills. I said all week I was highly confident, more confident even in this game than it was against the game against the Steelers, because I thought the Bills would Bills themselves in that game. Albeit it was too script. The Chiefs are the daddy. Patrick Mahomes, you are my daddy. Travis Kelce, you are my daddy. Taylor Swift, you are my mummy. You rule me. You rule Buffalo 27-24. I'd like to say I can't believe it, but I believe it. I tweeted out, this is Buffalo football, and it is, to a T. They were dropping like flies on the defense. They have been for weeks. I mean, even if the Bills would have got past the Chiefs yesterday, going into the buzzsaw that is Baltimore, who I thought didn't really click out of second gear in their win against the Texans, I mean, that would have been, I don't know, any given Sunday, but the amount of injuries that were piling up with the Bills, and then it was starting to bleed into the offense during the game. You're a walking wounded squad. Josh Allen would have had to drag the entire roster there, coaching staff included. So maybe a bit of a blessing in disguise, but the Chiefs win on the road now. They've slayed that dragon. Patty Mahomes doing it. Talk of Travis Kelce potentially retiring if they didn't move on. Yeah. He only has, what was it, pair of touchdowns? I mean, it's same old Chiefs, same old Bills, I guess. And why would I expect anything else? And of course with the kick. I mean, that's kind of the ugly with the capital
It's
U.
my ugly too, but it's fun. My favorite show growing up was the X-Files. And
Scully and Mulder.
Yes, yeah. So there's the smoking man. There's this one episode where they go back and it's his origin story, and he's going through all the things that he wants to accomplish, like the behind the scenes, the dastardly stuff, and he mentions, he goes, the Buffalo Bills don't win a Super Bowl in my lifetime, and then all the men in black were sitting around, what? And then he goes, yeah, and he mentioned a needle in the ring to the back of the kicker's neck makes him a little groggy, and he misses the like he went into this whole thing what he did so the Bills didn't win the Super Bowl, and that's what I thought of when that kick went off and wide right. The only time I like hearing wide right is when I was playing, but no, for it to happen again, and you look online and he's got to leave town. It wasn't the last kicker, didn't he go to the Rough Riders at that point? The old Bills kicker.
Oh, that I cannot. I know. Well, I don't know if that was in the same time, because Dave Ridgway, Robo Kicker, would have been.
Yeah,
and he was. I mean, that guy was lights out.
Yeah.
The complete opposite. But a tough weekend actually for kickers, and of course, Green Bay as well. Anders Carlson missing one in that game, and what could have been, I guess, there for Packers fans. I just want to go to as well, and just people flying in with their own good, bad, and uglies from the weekend. Ugly at the American Express tournament. Tom Kim missed the cut at -11, and it ruined my 14-leg parlay. How about one? Here is Nicholas Dunlap, the amateur, taking the tournament. First time in, 33 years, I do believe.
Phil Mickelson did it?
Yeah, so I mean, that a good story. I know Dusty's not too hot and heavy into the early PGA tournaments, but I like it this time of year when it's minus whatever outside, and you can put on a nice golf tournament somewhere down south.
Palm trees and light breeze off the water.
That is Nap Central USA, baby, for me. But and yes, if you want to play along this morning, every time that my computer dings or beeps with a new virus update, have a drink, sip of tea, sip of coffee, maybe a 6 o'clocker lager. If you're nursing one throughout the show, be our guest. 780-218-9999. Have your say this morning, or in the nasty chat as well. Scott Norwood was the kicker. Yes, I thank you, Box Pounder. Of course, Box Pounder, I think, entertaining Renee at the Central Casino Sports Bar and Lounge yesterday for the game as well in his Chiefs garb. So, way to be there. Steve Christie, was that the? He was also a kicker there. Yeah. It's all a blur, and a depressive blur for me, and one that I don't want to remember. I remember being born on a show last week.
Really?
It's this retrospective BS or whatever. But all the bad memories, like the Bills kicking, it's Just shadows. Bad shadows, you know what I mean? We'll get to a sports update right now, and just after the top of the hour, TSN's Darren Dreger will be popping by, talking Perry, the Red Hot Oilers, Patty Waugh back behind the bench, and more from around the NHL. Lieutenant Eric, Joaquin Gage, YouTube Trev behind the monitors. Darren Dreger of TSN coming up next. Oh, there'll be times like this, I tell you. Championship weekend set in the NFL. It was the Chiefs knocking off the Bills 27-24. The Lions over Tampa 31-23. Baltimore will get set to host the Kansas City Chiefs Sunday afternoon, while Detroit visits San Francisco Sunday evening. You can join the entire Edmonton Sports Talk crew. We'll be set up for Super Bowl 58 at the Centric Casino Sports Bar and Lounge at Centric Casino Fort Road for the big game February 11th. Menu items under $10, drink specials as well, and your chance at prizes throughout the day. And of course, the one and only Renee will be hosting. Veteran forward Corey Perry has a new team in the Edmonton Oilers. TSN's Ryan Rashad confirming the two sides have agreed to a deal. An official announcement expected later today. TSN's Chris Johnston adding that the deal is for the remainder of the season, expecting to include prorated salary and performance bonuses. The Oilers besting the Flames Saturday night for the club's 13th straight win. They'll go for 14 in a row tomorrow night at home to the Blue Jackets. Action yesterday saw Patrick Waugh get his first win back in the NHL as the Islanders beat the Dallas Stars 3-2 in overtime. Toronto dumping their Kraken 4-1 out in Seattle, handing the Kraken their fourth straight loss. 6 games dot the NHL tonight. Oil Kings dropping one of the Blades yesterday, 4-1 your final. Oil Kings back in action Friday down in Red Deer. And in the NBA, it was the Lakers over the Trailblazers, 134-110. Raptors will host the Grizzlies tonight, one of 8 games around the association. Sports update brought to you by Universal Rewind, reminding you that regular motor maintenance will prevent costly downtime. Contact them today to learn more about their motor maintenance services. Choose experience, expertise, and quality. Choose Universal Rewind.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
An abrupt ending there for that metal track, as that's how it's going to be over the next couple of days. Lieutenant Eric in for Dustin Nielson. Joaquin Gage joining me today. We'll have Jay Milne in the other chair for Tuesday's show, and YouTube Trev, as always, pulling the levers, pressing the buttons behind the monitors back there. We're going to have Darren Dreger joining us in a matter of minutes for Pro-Am Sports. Get your texts in as well, 780-218-9999. Or in the Nasty Chat on YouTube. You can also listen to us on the TuneIn app. Very easy to download. It is free. You just have to click through a pop-up there. They'll ask you to pay money. You can say, no, sir. No money from me, and I'll use this app for free. Edmonton Sports Talk on the TuneIn app. We're on YouTube as well, live with the video component, or you can go the old-fashioned way, edmontonsportstalk.com, and our big Listen Live button, of course, up top. Still waiting on Dreger to join us here. Let's take a dive into the Paris Jewelers inbox. Once again, 780-218-9999. If you have some ideas you need for Valentine's Day, visit Paris Jewelers in West Edmonton Mall or online, www.parisjewelers.com. People still talk about how if the team was healthy, Woody could have done what Knobloch is. I think that's a crock. Woody never had them playing like this, and he made a lot of suspect decisions. He'd overthink the game, and it caught up to him. Nobbs, Coffey, and Stewart had the team playing a cup-winning type game. The coaching change was huge. Let's go Oilers. That comes from Oil Boots. Your thoughts on that? I know Coffey and Stewart do get the credit. I think Woodcroft was getting a lot when they were humming along, right?
Yeah.
Knobloch, maybe an unassuming character, but your thoughts on that text there quickly ahead of Darren?
I just think that when you look at the two, Coach Woodcroft was quick to the gun to change things if they weren't working. We see Knobloch, how he implements the players with a little bit more patience, it seems. Tries to see what he has with certain combinations of players a little bit longer than Woodcroft. I like the fact that I think for the Oilers to have success, obviously they're going to play together at certain points, but having the big two separated creates issues for the other team because, let's face it, there's not really another team in the league overrun with number one defensemen that you can put out against these guys, and it just makes those matchups a little bit tougher to handle. So, yeah, maybe a little bit of overthinking. It would be great to hear Woodcroft and have him to be totally candid of what would you do differently at this point, because he's probably watching these games in some respect, and I don't think it'll be long before we see him behind the bench of another team. But I think we heard Connor say you're going to notice he's calm, he's patient, and the way he talks is the same way I think as he coaches. And you got to give credit to Paul Coffey too, man. That's Paul Coffey has a certain swagger about him that when you talk to him, he's a very confident individual, a great guy. Like I'm not bordering on arrogance at all. He's a very confident person, and you see that with the 6 guys that they have right now.
Well, the defensive structure night and day prior to and post his appointment as well. Darren Dreger of TSN, he is our hockey insider this morning. Brought to you by Pro-Am Sports, your locally owned sports memorabilia and apparel specialists. You can find them just north of the Yellowhead on St. Albert Trail at 128th Avenue, or visit them, of course, online at proamsports.ca. Like you, they are sports nerds and AM nasties too. Darren, welcome back to the show. Dustin Nielson away on a little family business, so you got the B team this morning. Myself and Joaquin Gage joining me, and it's good to see you again. Good weekend. Enjoy your weekend. What'd you get up to? Anything special to tell the fans out here?
No, you know what? It was relatively quiet outside of being a sports fan, which doesn't happen for me very often, but there was a lot going on, right? You had National Football League, so that kept me busy. I'm not invested. I'm not a fan per se, but I enjoy the emotion that comes out of watching my buddies watch NFL games. That's probably more to the point than anything else. And, you had a slew of NHL afternoon games, evening games, the Canadian matchups throughout the course of the weekend. From a sports perspective, it was a solid one. So I was a kind of a couch potato this weekend.
Yeah, no, lots going on, especially here. And we'll just start with the big news, of course, and that's Corey Perry. Yeah. That talk was sizzling for some time. We did hear that one of the chapters was he didn't want to come to Canada, of course, albeit expecting an official announcement later today. I just wanted your thoughts on both. How did we get to this point? And I'm talking about from when that contract was terminated in Chicago. We don't need to get into the off-ice stuff or anything specific of that, but just paper trail type of action. You terminate that contract. Now he's here. The Oilers are up against the cap, back up against it. Just your thoughts, if you could take us from that contract termination to what's expected to be announced today and signing it Edmonton off the ice and how this kind of all transpires.
Well, I would say a lot of work, right, by Ken Holland, by Jeff Jackson, and probably other members of the Edmonton Oilers organization. As Ryan Rashad reported on TSN last night, there would have been due diligence in this, and that's the phrase that we use because, look, when you look at the resume of Corey Perry, there wouldn't be a contending team in the National Hockey League that can't see the benefits of what Perry can bring. The experience factor, the grit. He still has a real good skill set. The fact that he can be an agitator, but over his time in the National Hockey League, he's learned to control that and be responsible where, he'll lure guys into snapping, but he doesn't always cross that line or his wires don't touch. And that just comes with playing almost 1,300 games in the National Hockey League. So, he's going to make the Oilers' bottom 6 better. But there's no way that this group, entered into this agreement with Corey Perry without going through all of it, right? And that's talking a number of times with Corey directly. That's talking to his agent, Pat Morris. That's talking to the National Hockey League. That's talking probably to the Chicago Blackhawks as well. Because, we don't entirely know what went on. And I'm not sure that it's really anyone's business to know what went on entirely. The NHL is good with it. The Edmonton Oilers are good with it. So maybe that's enough. Maybe we need to respect Corey's family and allow him to just get on with his playing career. But it would have been a decision that came with a full-scale investigation. And And I had heard the same thing, that maybe Corey didn't want to play in a Canadian market, and maybe that's because of the poking, the prodding, and the questions that inevitably are going to be asked when he meets the media for the first time, and out of respect to his family. Maybe he didn't want that, but I'll tell you what, this guy wants to win a Stanley Cup like every NHL player. And it's been a long time since he's been able to enjoy that, all the way back to 2007. So there would have been interest outside of Edmonton with teams that know the type of swagger and game that Corey brings. So I'm interested in seeing how he fits. And then you're right. I'm sure you guys have talked about this. Okay, how does he fit? From a cap perspective, how does he fit? And that's where it gets a little tricky, I'm sure, if you're management of the Edmonton Oilers. Are they going to waive somebody? Is there a trade that maybe they can execute in short order here? The latter seems like a stretch. So we could see a player that maybe is surprising that pops on waivers here in the next day or two.
Hey, Darren, Joaquin Gage, Two Guys in a Goalie podcast.
Yeah.
Darren, we were talking about earlier that some of the play from players, especially in the bottom six, I look at McLeod, Young Holloway, people were talking, how does Ken Holland repair some of these deficiencies in the Oilers lineup? Now we see this streak, we see the play of these certain guys at a level that's really plugging these holes. And what are you hearing? Are the Oilers looking for anywhere else to kind of shore up their lineup now with Perry kind of solidifying that bottom six? Is there anywhere else that they could be looking to really push them over the top as that contender?
Yeah, I think they are. Now, whether or not it'll materialize, that's the challenge here, because even with a smaller type piece like a bottom six forward, it's dollar in, dollar out, right? So my understanding is that they'd love to add another winger, maybe somebody as gifted to play alongside Leon Draisaitl. How do you do that? How do you make the finances work, right? Every contending team, as we know, wants to add depth on defense, and the Oilers are no different there. And what if an affordable insurance piece just landed in your lap in goal? So, I mean, we're talking about a lot, and not all of that can happen because of the cap-related hurdles that Ken Holland is going to have to overcome. But they look at their lineup, they like what they see, they love the way individual players have embraced their role, they love how the individuals have fit into the puzzle that is now a real good hockey club, a club that we can legitimately see being a top Stanley Cup contender. But we still have weeks until the March 8th trade deadline. So I think Kenny's going to try and be as active and proactive as he can be within reason. So the way I've described, I'm sure, is pie in the sky. But how many people actually thought Holland was going to land Matthias Ekholm last year when he did? That was just a good old-fashioned hockey trade, right? So I think that's kind of the area that Holland and company are hunting in now, is where you can make a deal where some of your assets are going up. Maybe you got to pop some futures into that, but a transaction that'll make the team better in the areas that we've described.
TSN's Darren Dreger joining the Nielson Show this morning here on Edmonton Sports Talk, brought to you by Pro-Am Sports. Just shifting gears a bit, and if you want to get back to Oilers in a pinch here as well, but Patrick Waugh back in the NHL, back behind a bench, clean-shaven, apparently the one phone call from Lou Lamoriello, right, and that was it. Your thoughts on Patty Waugh Volume 2, getting the overtime win there, Islanders over the Stars, and take us through this little adventure here, and how did we get to Pat Waugh back behind an NHL bench?
Well, the story is surprising. It is. More so that Lou Lamoriello pulled the trigger on Lane Lambert and just said, okay, I've seen enough. Mm-hmm. That's not an indictment on the coach. I mean, you guys know it. As we were coming in the segment, you talked about Jay Woodcroft and Dave Manson. And, you do have to give credit to the existing coaching staff. Change was needed. The players take it personally, and they respond. That's been the case in Edmonton. And there'll be a coach bump for the Islanders as well. So, I admire Lamoriello for being as cutthroat as he is, because if you wait much longer, particularly where the Islanders are in the East, maybe you've waited too long. And, I'm sure that Lou has been trying to make a deal that maybe improves, what they have in terms of a roster. That's a challenge. It's hard to do. I'm not surprised that Patrick Roy is back on an NHL bench. I'm really not. Dealing in the world that I work in, which is very speculative, his name would often pop up. Most recently, it's been popping up around the Ottawa Senators. Would Jacques Martin hang in there and maintain his interim status until the end of the year? You Craig Berube out there. Again, Patrick Roy, because of the French connection. That would make some sense in Ottawa. He's a highly regarded hockey guy. He really is. And I went to the Memorial Cup last May in Kamloops. I was blown away. I was captivated watching this guy manage his bench. Watched a couple of practices. The hockey knowledge, of course, is there in spades, but it's the passion, it's the energy, it's the personality that he brings to that position. And the Islanders players are talking about that already, and he's only been there a couple of days. So not surprised he's back in the NHL. More surprised that Lou Lamoriello pulled the trigger in the way that he did.
Also, just to stick with coaching. Before this, I just want to go to the Leafs a little bit since you're out there and have your finger on the pulse. They come back after this very difficult road trip with 2-2. There was rumblings of Sheldon Keefe. Is he on the hot seat a little bit? Has this road trip going 50-50 here solidified his job as coach, or do you see the Leafs making a change like that this year?
Well, no, I don't, but it solidified his job only in the sense that, he's safe until the next stretch of games where they falter again. If they continue to play the way that they played against Seattle last night, then I think Sheldon should be safe. They played the type of game that you need to play when you've got a question in goal, which they definitely do with Ilya Samsonov, just his second start since, being waived and sent down to the Toronto Marlies of the American League. Do a little bit of retune work. Samsonov played well, but Toronto limited the Kraken to 17 shots, something like that. They played sound defensively. They have the star power. Matthews scores a nice goal from a beautiful setup by Mitch Marner. Nicky Robertson comes off the sidelines. He's got fresh legs. He makes it 2-0. And then they protected the lead. So if Toronto is going to continue to play that way and be okay with a 1-goal, 2-goal win, then I do think that Sheldon is safe. He's been taking some heat of late, because of how quick he goes to the blender and the continued audition on the left side with Matthews and Marner. And I understand it, but I feel like we're also kind of grabbing at low-hanging fruit. If you want to watch some of the better teams in the league, I watch a lot of Boston Bruins games. I don't think there's another coach in hockey that changes his lineup more than Jim Montgomery, the Boston Bruins. And he'll have wingers playing center and vice versa. And he'll pull a kid from the third line up to the big boy line with Marchand and Pasternak. And you're like, well, that seemed to work. And if it didn't work, he'll change it, 5 minutes into the hockey game. I mean, that's coaching. So in a long-winded way, I think Sheldon is safe. But you know why you got to always kind of keep him in focus? And maybe there are other coaches out there that we're not thinking about who maybe are just about as vulnerable. It's because somebody as solid as Craig Berube is out there and waiting. And because of Brad Treliving, I could see Craig Berube being a terrific fit with Brad Treliving and the Toronto Maple Leafs. So because of that reality, it's probably a story that isn't going away anytime soon.
Darren, I appreciate your time this morning. We appreciate your time. The listeners do. The viewers do. Just one last question before we let you go. If you had to purchase one NHL All-Star jersey, which color would it be? You have to take one. Forcing one upon you.
Yeah, well, remind me of the colors again.
You got the Cool Ranch blue, you got the Doritos Original red, you got the white, and then you got the full Preds yellow there. I ask this because they released the name bar will be on the bottom with the number and everything, so a little different. I know it's the big debate is on, but...
Yeah, I'm not much of an all-star guy, but the only reason I asked the question, remind me of the colors, is because I literally saw them once. What was it, 2 Saturdays ago when they were launched? And my 22-year-old son, we were at the Leafs Avalanche game, and he said, "Look at these." And he liked them.
There you go.
I didn't pay much attention. So I'll go with the white. White is pretty safe, pretty standard, old school, so I'll stick with the white.
Love it. Thanks for your time this morning, Darren. Have a good week. We'll talk next Monday.
Okay, guys, be well.
Darren Dreger, TSN. He is our hockey insider every Monday morning here on the Nielson Show, and brought to you again by Pro-Am Sports, your locally owned sports memorabilia and apparel specialists. You can find them north of the Yellowhead St. Albert Trail, 128th Avenue, or visit them online, proamsports.ca. Like you, Joaquin, they are sports nerds and AM nasties too. Anything you're picking out of that conversation with Darren there? I mean, the Patty Waugh stuff again. It's the Islanders and they're way out there in the East. I mean, I just like watching this one from afar. It's great for the league.
Oh, yeah, and Dusty's going to keep watching this. He's going to probably become an Islanders fan here in no time.
The next LeBron following, hey?
I mean, he goes in there and wins. Like, when we used to play against the Avalanche, Patrick Waugh was a very confident person. And, like, to the point where I remember with the lineup boards, right? You'd see the lineup, and there was certain people circled or stars and little things. When Patrick Waugh, you'd have I don't know who the other goalie was, but usually the starter would be circled.
Yeah,
but it wasn't Waugh. It was Mac T wrote God because that's what he thought he was. So, yeah, it's going to filter down into that team. And Darren Dreger alluded to it, and I didn't watch as much, but I was fascinated that team that he had at the Memorial Cup, they all played the same way. They really bought into his style of play. The hockey knowledge is off the charts with him. Yeah, let's see if the Islanders can get back into a kind of a fight here.
A fascinating little team in that they are in the thick of the wild card chase in the East, and I don't know how much. I mean, again, the Oilers buzzsawed their way through that Eastern wild card. A couple of those teams. But 51 points this morning. They are 2 points back of the two wild card spots, a minus 20 goal differential. So you can read into that what you may. But it'll be neat to track them and see how far they can either fly or fall. Lane Lambert's Islanders getting one in on the Oilers earlier in the season as well. But yeah, this is something I'll keep an eye on. And again, being out east there, you're not kind of too close to home, and too much damage can be done around here. So why not? It'd be something to keep an eye on for sure. Nasty chat's humming along as well. The Craig Berube thing, though, with Toronto certainly seems like a sexy.
Yeah,
that's frisky and fun, is it not?
That's I like that little thing drop there. That's but because I heard that Keefe was kind of in the hot seat, and that was a huge trip for him, and it was kind of the murderer's row of of going out west, and to come back 2-2, I think is I think the Leafs would have to look at that as successful.
I will put it under the microscope a bit here. You lose to the Oilers, you use the Canucks, you beat the Flames, and you beat the Kraken, and those are teams in that Western Wild. Like you're beating your own here, and that's okay. You get the wins, and that's important. But we did identify after this trip, you now have this home and home with the Jets, which begins Wednesday in Toronto, finishes up Saturday down in Winnipeg. Do wins against the Flames and Kraken suffice it if you just get dumped here by the Jets as well? I just wondered, because the Berube thing, man, oh man, that is... I'd be really tempted to pull the trigger on that. With no skin in the game, listen to me talking this morning, right?
I'm sure they're talking to him.
Yeah.
Like Darren said, he's safe until the next stretch that things go poorly. So, that's got to be tough for a coach. He mentioned like he goes to the blender. We see coaches that possibly feel the heat
sign
a little bit of if he's going to go out on his shield, he's going to go out with his best guys on his shield with him, right? So you see them start playing Marner and Matthews more together, things like that. But also, I just thinking of the Islanders having Waugh as a Hall of Fame goalie and done it multiple times. It's only going to help like Sorokin and Varlamov with just little conversations that he can have. Just get into that. I know no one wants to really go there, but the goalie mind is a weird place to go sometimes, and he can, I think, solidify that. Those are two really good
when you
goalies.
have God coaching you in that position, right? I mean,
when the
he's
Almighty,
no David Abisher here, but right?
When the Almighty is talking to you, the burning bush, maybe when he's
well, you should have kept the beard. Maybe that would have been more apt. You know what I mean? But Mr. Pat Janix points out in the Nasty Chat quite aptly, Islanders, of course, 3-2 in overtime against the Stars yesterday, securing Patty Waugh that win. The Islanders host the Golden Knights tomorrow. Their first road game, guess who? In Montreal with the Canadiens Thursday evening. Islanders and Habs. That same night, coincidentally, as the Blackhawks are in town here to take on the Oilers. And whether or not old Corey Perry, the Worm, will be ready to go for that. A very fascinating week here.
Yeah, it's
on the docket.
great.
Hey?
It's great.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to him a little bit more about the circumventing the salary cap with IR, LTIR, and
Well, that's the next step.
Yeah,
You've
know.
acquired your pests.
Yeah.
Now let's get a little pesty on the management front, shall we? Oh,
Yeah.
I gotta, give
someone-
somebody a little rest on there, right?
Does someone have to go Nancy Kerrigan like
I think
Evander
so.
Kane
I think
filling up the Maserati?
Adam Ernie, get your carbon rod ready, right? We'll do a sports update, hey? Yeah, and then we'll come back. Coolbet Canada hotline of the day. Again, not too sure we might be going with this one. I know the Coolbet boys are probably feeling it this morning, way out east in the T-Dot regarding that Bills loss. So we'll drum up a little something. If not, give them a little love as well and let you know where you can be placing a little bet. As HR Daddy likes to just throw a loonie down. He puts a loonie on the table and
perfect.
something like that. But Coolbet Canada hotline of the day coming up next. That's ahead of Mike Tanier from the Messenger to wrap up the NFL weekend at around 7:40. But first, a sports update from me. Patrick Mahomes leading the Chiefs over the Bills 27-24. They're back in the AFC Championship game. They'll visit Baltimore Sunday afternoon. Earlier in the day, the Lions winning another home playoff game, 31-23 over the Buccaneers. Detroit visits San Francisco for the Sunday evening NFC Championship game. And, of course, you can join the entire Edmonton Sports Talk crew. We'll be on location at the Centric Casino Sports Bar and Lounge at Centric Casino Fort Road for Super Bowl 58. That's Sunday, February 11th. Join us down there. Menu items under $10. Drink specials. Your chance to meet Renee and prizes throughout the day. Veteran forward Corey Perry expected to join the Oilers with an announcement likely coming later today. TSN's Chris Johnston reporting the deal will be for the remainder of the season. It's expected to include prorated salary and performance bonuses. Oilers picking up their 13th straight win Saturday night over the Flames. They'll go for 14 in a row tomorrow night at home to Columbus. Yesterday, the Leafs stumping the Kraken 4-1, handing Seattle its fourth straight loss, and Patrick Waugh getting his first win back behind an NHL bench as the Islanders defeat the Stars 3-2 in overtime. 6 games around the NHL later tonight. Oil Kings dropping one of the Blades yesterday, 4-1 from Rogers Place. Edmonton visit the Rebels on Friday. AJHL has a break in action tonight. A pair of games will be on tomorrow night's schedule. And the Lakers defeating Portland 134-110 in NBA action. Raptors host the Grizzlies tonight in one of 10 games around the association. Sports update brought to you by the great staff at Park Mazda and Mitch Lewicki. A good hockey player plays where the puck is. A great hockey player also plays where the puck is going to be. Mitch Lewicki is always around the puck down at Park Mazda. You can check them out at parkmazda.ca on the internet.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching the button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki with like a giant eagle's wings and singing lead vocals for Leonard Skinner with like an angel band. And I'm in the crowd hammered drunk.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
All-inclusive vibes here, eh?
Yeah.
I know Nasty Jasmine was down at an all-inclusive. I've been following her on the Instagram. She's been living.
Yeah.
Like, totally living. So if you are anywhere on vacation or something like that, get in touch, send some pictures. Always love seeing them. Did get a text in here. Do believe Box Pounder, he was on location at Centric Casino Sports Bar and Lounge yesterday for divisional finals. We will be there, of course, for the Super Bowl, February 11th. The whole I'll be there. You'll be there, Trev.
Whole crew will be there.
Plans for Super Bowl? Are you going to come on down for a quarter or something?
Sure, maybe, yeah.
Test your hand at the one-armed bandit?
Yeah.
Maybe the tables?
It's 3 weeks.
February 11th.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got a little bit of time. I do believe Dusty's contacted people there who might have a few rooms.
Oh,
I'm staying
wow.
overnight.
Oh yeah,
I'm doing the whole bit.
Yeah,
I don't care. I'll go all day and all night. It's a casino, baby. You know, you got the air going in. You feel alive.
Well, and that's feeling relaxed, not having to go home too. That's
it's always
part
in the back
too.
of your mind, boring into your subconscious throughout the day. Right?
I always have way more fun when I have get-togethers at my house because then I know I'm just I'm a few meters away from
slippers on.
Yeah. Oh yeah, slippers are all.
Like I'll change. I'll come down from the room, bathrobe, that whole thing. Mr.
full.
Papa Giorgio, your car awaits.
I love it.
Yeah, but Box Pounder, great photo with Renee, and of course Savage the plumber as well, checking in on the nasty chat. Would have loved to join you down there and join in the tears of sadness, but no, I was at home crying into my cold, late arrived Donair, which really capped a brutal Sunday for me. 780-218-9999 is the Paris Jewelers inbox. Coolbet Canada hotline of the day, and of course with Dusty away, we got Mr. Hunt, Captain Hunches in here. I mean, we got hunch on anything this morning. No Mr. Lean this morning, but we will have more of the lock shop will be going on. I'm sure Andrew Hustler Patterson out in Winnipeg tap dancing, big Chiefs fan, big win, and of course Winnipeg Blue Bombers quarterback Zach Collaros in the suite. I mean, that's just it's Huss written all over it. The whole vibe around them. The Bearcats, Collaros, the Chiefs. So he'll be primed and pumped, ready to go today with the lock shop and a few of the Coolbet boys. That's coming up at 11 o'clock this morning, Mountain Time here on Edmonton Sports Talk. But for all your betting purposes, anything you want to do this evening, whether in terms of it's the NBA, I know the Raptors are back in action, 6 games around the NHL tonight as well. You can head up to coolbet.com and what is the line? Stay cool, bet
Stay cool.
Stay cool. Bet responsibly. Thank you very much. I do have the shirt on this morning. I should know that. I got the little.
Those are great shirts. I got one too.
Well, they fit nice. They're breathable.
Yeah.
Like they're not too thick, not too
Although
thin.
I don't know. Dusty got me the boys medium golf shirt, so that was
my order.
Was
I kept saying boys medium. It's for me. It's for me. But coolbet.com is the place to go if you're looking at. Hey, and you don't need to. We're not looking for high rollers here or anything else like that. You can be like HR Daddy if you got a buck to lay down, or like my dad who plays the 649.
Oh, yeah?
One loony every week, right?
Yeah.
Same numbers, and you just keep plugging away at that old bet. Whatever it is, coolbet.com is your place to do it. 780-218-9999. Bring on the Hunch Hero. Did you correctly guess another Oilers? You guessed Gagne from behind the net, didn't you?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
You did?
No, I'm not gonna lie. I've been pretty cold as of late, but that's the way she goes sometimes.
Takes a big man to admit that.
Yeah. No, it does. Yeah, no hunches this morning, unfortunately. If there was an Oilers game, I might throw one out there, but yeah, nothing right now.
Here's one. Sam Crow in the nasty chat. Not to offend Oilers fans, but what does Perry add to your team?
Really. Jeez.
I mean, I think we went over a good handful of things
Yeah,
earlier.
no.
It's not so much that you're like, I think what he adds is Ken Holland doesn't have to give up anything.
Yeah.
And we were talking just in the break here, the prorated salary and everything. And I do tongue-in-cheek want to say like another masterclass from Ken Holland following the Evander Kane. Like it's things falling out of the tree. You don't have to climb up and pick them and risk yourself. They're falling into your lap. You take them as they come. And especially when you're cap strapped. He's not going to come in here and score, 20 goals down the stretch or anything like that. But there is a championship pedigree. There's a pestiness. There's a rough angle to him, which I think this team is crying out for, really.
Yeah. I've said it. I think the biggest thing that he provides to the Oilers, there's a lot of those intangible things, not just the on ice stuff, but a guy that's been there before, a guy that you can go and talk to about situations that he's from his experience. There's also the possibility of him talking to other players, like I don't know, looking at maybe Ryan Getzlaff makes a return. No, I'm kidding.
Bring him all back.
that would solidify that third line center role. But no, no. There's just so many different things that he provides in a dressing room, especially with young players too. Like they're going to ask him about things. And again, I thought about this last night once I heard the news, and I started looking, but then I went to bed. But when's the last time a team had 3 other Hart Trophy winners on their team?
Yeah.
Right. So that's big, man. That's huge to have that type of pedigree on your team. It's there's a lot of things that he can provide, and things obviously didn't go as planned in Chicago the way he wanted to. Here's a guy coming in, getting a second lease on life, and he's going to be on his best behavior, right? I've never heard anything bad about Corey Perry off ice except for this last thing. I think this is kind of a blip on the radar. And like Darren Dreger said when we talked to him, the NHL's okay with it. The Oilers are okay with it. I'm okay with it.
Well, and John from the Fort points out as well at 780-218-9999, the Paris Jewelers inbox, that, the one market being that it was Chicago with the attention on them for off-ice episodes, actions that were either not addressed or whatever. Perhaps there's more of and again, we don't need to kind of wade in this pool here, but there is that as well. There's a new nasty in town. Rick in the Donut says, no apologies needed from this guy. Cool that the good, bad, and ugly want to play right here in E-Town, and that kind of goes off what you were saying as well, and that, there was some smoke about him not wanting to come to Canada, and in the past, players not wanting to come specifically to this market. But if he's making that choice ahead of some of them with Rangers, Lightning, I guess, all rumored to kind of be in the mix, that's a boon for the market. And with a team kind of trying to get through that window and get a cup, when guys are wanting to be a part of that, I mean, you don't want to run from that or deny it in any shape or form.
Here's a guy that has had some time to think about, and there seemed like there was a lot of other offers, and he chose the Edmonton Oilers, like for his best opportunity to win another cup. So I like that as well.
Smitty the Welder, he's an a-hole to play against, and not one player in the bottom six plays that way. I do wonder, though, how long does it take before he's up top?
Well, we'll see it.
Because why not?
We'll see it at some point for sure. There's going to be times, like when after a penalty kill, we've seen Nobla, he gets the guys that weren't out there into a shift, right? To get everyone back going a little bit. So by all accounts, Perry's not going to be penalty killing or on the, you might see him on that the elusive second power play unit.
Moonlighting, a bit, eh?
But there's a chance you might see a line of Perry, Draisaitl, and McDavid, after a penalty kill. Why not?
Why not?
Why just sort of see what happens?
Get a big 2-0 lead in a game, as they're doing right now.
Huge 2-0. Or down 2.
Or that's the time. Yeah. Special agent here.
Yeah. No, I here's a guy that, can play up there if need be.
Well, that's another thing too. If need be, I mean that's another kind of insurance-based policy there, if you will.
And there's a lot of skill still for his age, and obviously he doesn't get around as he once did, but he never that wasn't part of his game before. It was,
and they got guys who can and will in that.
Yeah,
right.
So it's it's an exciting time for Oiler fans.
Just a bit of a shame, too, as McDavid, though, was finding his physical edge and wanting Spector to write more articles about the defensive side of the game, and now you got to enter Corey Perry to take all that off. But no, we'll your thoughts as well. Where do you want to see him deployed? What are your expectations for Corey Perry as we assume that this announcement kind of gets announced sometime later today? And that, of course, courtesy TSN's Ryan Rashad of the Got Your Back podcast. And he had a pod dropping last night in which he went into this. He will join us later this morning at around 8:20 for more on Perry, Holloway, the Oilers making it a baker's dozen in Calgary, and the week ahead, both against Columbus and Chicago. Both games at home. Is the January schedule fitting quite nicely. The Tuesday, the Thursday, then you get the weekend game all through the month of January. 7:38 in Edmonton. We got the nice, thank you for that clock too, Trev. That clock has been a welcome addition to the studio. Just love it.
It's not bad, eh? Yeah, I really like the clock.
I think that most of that snow, too, has stopped, hey? Was it minus 15 right now? High of minus 13 today. Temperatures will steadily increase. We're looking for a high of minus 4 for Friday and 0 for Sunday, even a +1, Gager, for next Monday.
Yeah, careful on those roads. That's actually, it was quite relaxing driving in here this morning.
The morning commute.
Thank God. Like
3 lanes.
When I'm getting here for on Thursdays, for hot takes, it's stressful because the judge is a little.
That's Monaco.
Yeah,
yeah. You know what I mean? Like you are just.
Yeah, so it's a little bit tougher. And today, although you couldn't see the lines that much, I came.
But that's the thing. That's the beauty. You're just Rainbow Road, and you're.
I stayed in my own lane.
Joaquin Gage in for Dustin Nielson, who is tending to a family matter over the next couple of days. I will be in tomorrow morning with EST glue guy Jay Mill, and of course YouTube Trev saving us. He is unstoppable. You were 3 for 3 on technical episodes earlier today, I do believe. 2 for 2, 3 for 3.
Yeah, 2 for 2. Yeah, we've had some hiccups recently, but I'm pretty happy with how things have been going out. Yeah, I appreciate that, man.
Soaking it. And we will get into the NFL picture, I guess, right now. Mike is good to go, waiting in the bullpen here. Mike Tanier, outstanding work from the Messenger. He is our guiding light through the National Football League season, joining the show every Monday at around 7:40. And once again, you can find his work up at the Messenger. A great write, a great guest, and no one better to break down the divisional weekend than him. Mike, welcome back to the show, man. Let's get right into it. Championship Sunday is set. You got the Niners at home to the Lions. The Ravens will be hosting the Chiefs in both the NFC and the AFC. It's 1 at home to 3. But we'll begin kind of knocking down the divisional round matchups, starting with the Baltimore Ravens, a rested Ravens team. Mike, Lamar Jackson, expectations always around him, but to me, and you get that week off, I never really thought the Ravens needed to get out of second gear in that one. Your thoughts on divisional game number 1 of the weekend there, and the Ravens defeating the Texans 34-10.
Yeah, they never had to get out of second gear. They did have to get out of first gear. They were in first gear
Yeah.
at the beginning of that game. Kind of in all phases, the special teams miscue, the offense, sputtered a little bit, although they were moving the ball in the first quarter. And then they kind of hit second gear, and that was sufficient. But that kind of is what the Ravens are. I don't know what people expect of the Ravens these days, if they expect to see Lamar Jackson doing nothing but highlight. You get the Jackson highlights. You also get Jackson sitting in the pocket once in a while, throwing 6-yard passes and getting down the field. That's not something you saw years ago from him. You see that now. And you see this defense that can really, really shut down even pretty good opponents. It was a very banged-up Texans team, but they really shut them down. That's what the Ravens do. All 3 phases. Yeah, there was a special teams error. Special teams, defense, offense can really manhandle most opponents.
So with Lamar Jackson getting kind of off that monkey off the back, the talk of him going into the playoffs and not getting those victories, is he? Do you see anything like? I look at the latter part of that game, and he just basically took that over. Are the Chiefs going to be able to handle a very confident Lamar Jackson?
It's not just a confident Lamar Jackson, but it's a Lamar Jackson who has people to throw to. I really dug back into some of his playoff losses, and people forget he won a playoff game too. It wasn't like he was 0-4 or something like that. But he had some bad losses, and I would look at who was on the field with him, and his top receiver was Willie Snead. His top receiver was Miles Boykin. You would see things like that out there, and you say, okay, well, he did make a lot of mistakes, but who was he throwing to? And now you see Zay Flowers, who is a developing rookie. You have Odell out there who still brings you something. You have Aguilar, who's drop happy but a veteran. You have Mark Andrews. Edwards might be coming. Mark Andrews may be coming back, but you have Isaiah Likely, who's an emerging tight end. So you have all of this. That's what's going to be hard for the Chargers to handle. This team can throw short, throw deep, work from the pocket, do the Jackson magic, run the ball a little bit, and play such stifling defense that they're just a hard matchup for anyone.
Mike, let's just stay within the conference here, and the Buffalo Bills, thinking they'll best the Chiefs. They got them at home, got them right where we want them now, and same old story again. The Chiefs are the daddy, 27-24 the final. I know everybody's going to be talking wide right, and that's kind of the memeology of today, but I mean, I thought the Bills did a good job controlling that line of scrimmage on offense. They're moving the chains, but never really getting that big play. And on the other side of the ball, the Chiefs were just making big plays against that Bills defense. Just your thoughts on that game, how it unfolded, and as kind of Joaquin said, now the Chiefs going in that buzzsaw in Baltimore, but where do the Bills take this one from here, man?
It's hard. I knew one of the teams yesterday was going to not have very many big plays from their receivers. I didn't know that would be the Bills. The Bills who, had to dink and dunk a lot, who a couple of deep shots by Josh Allen that hit his receivers on the hands. He hit Stephon Diggs on the hands. Yeah. Sherfield had to kind of make a super play, and he's, a wide receiver 3, so maybe that's not as expected of him. But that's kind of what doesn't come through for the Bills yesterday. Plus, they're so banged up on defense that they can't really stop a sequential offense. The Bills are $44 million over the salary cap. and half of their defense is free agents. I look at them right now and say, this is very much a crossroads. This would have been the year, or last year would have been the year, whatever. It should have been the year sometime in the last 3 years. They're going to have to maybe do a soft reboot for the team here around Josh Allen. The good news for that is you can't really blame Josh Allen for anything that happened yesterday. He had the Superman cape on for much of that game. You know you can get, another 4, 5, 6, whatever years out of it. You just may have to build some new things on defense and maybe refresh his receiving core a little bit.
Mike, just really quickly, I know there was an episode in that game with the touchback fumble out of bounds. Your favorite rule in the National Football League. You want to kind of go on that one a little more?
I hate it so much because it's such a gotcha. And people always run to defend it. It's like, well, if you don't like it, hold on to the ball. Hold on to the ball. The Bills fumbled early in that game, and they tapped it out of bounds, and they kept the ball. They kept the ball. You fumble out of bounds anywhere else, you keep the ball. All of a sudden, that's the ultimate gotcha. But you know what? I'm not going to dwell on it because Andy Reid's got Isaiah Pacheco playing lights out. He's got Travis Kelce, and he gives the ball to Mecole Hardman, who I think has 275,000 fumbles in his career. I may be exaggerating slightly, but they give the ball to this tiny guy who's fumble prone. So I don't want to hear it from Chiefs fans about the fumble touchback rule this year. I know your receivers are all mistake prone. Don't give it to that kid at the goal line. Give it to the young man from Jersey, Isaiah Pacheco, and let him pound the ball in for you.
Mike, just switching gears then, switching it up by conference now. We've done the AFC. Let's move over to the NFC. And Mike Tanier from the Messenger, brought to you by Pro-Am Sports. You can visit them online as well at proamsports.ca. The Detroit Lions and Dusty away today, of course, the resident Lions fan. I don't know, Cloud 9, man. It's like Cloud, whatever high number you want to use here. 2 wins, playoff wins at home. I know they're going out to San Francisco, and that's going to be a stiff test. But right now, I mean, this is great. Like, this is what house money, right? Like, this is you. You've won 2 playoff games at home. What else could you want?
Yeah, you know what? I was joking entering the playoffs that like the Lions and the Eagles and Cowboys were kind of the same team. But the Eagles and Cowboys fans were like, if you don't make the Super Bowl, we're going to riot. We're going to set fire to everything. Whereas Lions fans are like, hooray, we're going to bring out Eminem and Barry Sanders, and we're going to dance around. And credit to the Lions because they didn't stop there. The Eagles and Cowboys stopped, the Lions didn't. But this is wonderful. You look at it, you take whatever happens next week with a grain of salt. I don't give the Lions much of a chance. You saw how that defense looked in the second half. It was not good. It's not going to handle it. Take it into the offseason and say, what can we do to get better? There's lots of rookies on that team, a lot of second-year guys on that team. They've got some cap space. They've got more draft picks. Get better, and keep building what's been being built for the Lions.
They always talk about the conspiracies. Don't you think that there's a conspiracy to get the Chiefs and now the Lions, because with the star power of Taylor Swift and Eminem, they can really promote the Super Bowl to a level that we haven't seen.
And
before.
Usher on the halftime performance.
And Usher.
You throw that in.
You have to, and don't forget Jason Kelsey out there with bare chested like king of the polar bears. Now you've got this other level to the conspiracy. It's phenomenal.
And let's dive into the 49ers. Again, as I mentioned, the Ravens kind of that second gear mentality. And the Texans, I mean, credit to the Texans doing what they did. And you talk about bright futures, and certainly CJ Stroud and what they've done there is a good story. The Packers as well, a little bit of kicking issues as well. Carlson there missing one, 24-21 your final. But again, Packers fans, you got to be feeling good where this organization is and moving forward.
Exactly. You have kicker issues. You have Love not being able to quite get it done against a great defense at the end. You had goal line issues throughout the game. We had to settle for field goals. Not a complete team by any stretch of imagination. Bunch of rookies and second-year players on offense. A lot of guys who are just guys on defense going out there against, the juggernaut of the NFC. So, Packers fans have to be happy. And remember, they were eating about 40-something million in cap space for Aaron Rodgers this year. They could not spend money this year. Next year, they can start spending money a little bit, and they can add pieces around this team. And it's a credit to what they did this season that they're going to be in good shape for next year.
Mike, you're a great guest, always educational, and you bring the heat. Where can people find you online if they are tuning in this morning for the first time? And what do you got coming up either today or this week moving forward to Championship Sunday up at the Messenger?
Well, you can find me at the Messenger. It's your source for not just sports, but news, politics, business, entertainment, everything you would get out of the normal newspaper, and it is free, so check it out, themessenger.com. I am working on a thing, probably for next week, about the worst coaching hires of the last 25 years. And you need a Lions fan in here because, there's a couple of Lions coaches on the list.
Just quickly, McDermott's safe in Buffalo, correct?
Oh, I would hope so, for heaven's sake. I know it's quick, but after Sirianni's on the hot seat, McCarthy's on the hot seat, Tomlin's on the hot seat, these guys get to the second round of the playoffs. Who do you think is out there in the coaching community is going to take over and do better than these guys? I think fans have lost their marbles a little bit about how the coaching carousel works.
Emotions run high. Hey, Mike? That's how it always goes. The deeper you go.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Appreciate your time, Mike. Enjoy the rest of the week, and we will talk next Monday.
You got it. Take care and enjoy your week.
Mike Tanier from the Messenger, brought to you by Pro-Am Sports, your locally owned sports memorabilia and apparel specialists. You can check them out just north of the Yellowhead, St. Albert Trail, 128th Avenue, or check them out online, proamsports.ca. Love a good Monday appearance from Mike. He gets you going. He gives you the enjoy your week, and you're off and running. Just love it.
I was, becoming a Eagles fan, I was always wondering because they were talking about Cipriani being fired. And I'm like, really? I don't know.
Well, you're only good as what you did, right? Yesterday or whatever. And
there was the monumental. I think they did let go of their defensive coordinator, though, today. This is what I saw.
Yes. There was something going on. And then there was an OC being appointed as well. But these are I don't know. Yeah. You're waiting for those big fish to kind of either get gobbled up in the net or either cast aside and put back in the water. But the Eagles with that whole head of security thing too. It just that unraveled like a present on Christmas morning. Eh? Like it was just a. But that's how even McDermott too. He should be safe, but some of the decisions and the defense not really. And then they had a lot of injuries. I get that, but the punt that was and I'm just kind of And maybe if this is like a reboot of again, end of a mini era, you do look at maybe going somewhere with a guy that's more built. I don't know. Again, you think these things after a loss. It's all heart and no head. So 780-218-9999 is the text line, the Paris Jewelers inbox. Or get at us in the nasty chat as well. I know we had somebody, the Black Massacari, checking in from Lake Constance, Germany.
Oh,
you ever travel in that part of the country?
I don't know where. I'd have to know what part of Germany that.
South? You said south.
South.
South?
Well, I didn't venture much south, but that's where you want to go. There's an old. I don't know how you say it in German, but it's you never go anywhere the Romans didn't go. Something like that.
Okay,
that's where.
Well, that's. Be like the Romans.
Be like the Romans.
In Rome.
Yeah.
Nasty chat. You can get in whatever you want this morning if you're watching on there as well. We do have a couple minutes till the top of the hour. If you want to also get in right now. If you want to play kind of easy trivia, we have a couple minutes to go. But 780-218-9999. Text in, I want to play or I want to play. Or pick me for trivia. Anything to kind of get in YouTube Trev's good graces. Maybe you compliment his mustache or something he said during one of Saturday's shows, the many shows that he's on. Get in right now. 780-218-9999 is the Paris Jewelers inbox. If you want to play kind of easy trivia this morning, that's coming up in a matter of minutes. We'll have a gift card for Mr. Mike's Steakhouse Casual on the line, courtesy Mr. Mike's, the casualest place ever, Hampton Inn on the corner of 137th Avenue and Mark Messier Trail, now with 6 o'clocker lager on tap. So you can go there with your gift card and maybe max it out. Get a seat on the wood and drink away an afternoon, courtesy your friends here at Edmonton Sports Talk. Why not? So once again, 780-218-9999 if you want to play kind of easy trivia this morning. When in Rome, please continue. That comes in from Pat in the county. I think he's trying to draw some sort of Germany story out of you in some form or fashion. Maybe during 3 questions too many.
Maybe
we could get a little tale out of you. I still go back to that. Was it the Swedish spa with the the willow branches or whatever?
Yeah.
But you would be the first if we were to send somebody downstairs as a canary in the mine type of deal.
Well,
you know your way.
Do they have
around.
the sauna down there too? Is that? Oh, geez.
That's why our temperature issues are so frequent here, is because of the heat and the moisture and everything else. Corey Perry and Euler, take that, Kevin Lowe and Mike Comrie. That flies in from Tommy Rubella this morning. Blair in Calgary. I have a question for Gager. You brought up Mac T. Where would he rank on coaches you played for? Thanks, Oil Booths. That's Blair in Calgary.
Hey, he was a really good coach. Guys loved him. Very knowledgeable. Fair but firm, kind of like Mills Lane, the old boxing referee.
Judge Mills Lane from the
The only thing I would say that I didn't like about Mac D is he didn't play me much, but other than that, he was great. It was very easy to play for him, especially being I always found, not that you have to be, but sometimes having that a former player at that level helps with certain situations. Especially that year was his first year becoming a head coach, so freshly removed from being a player at that point, kind of. So, it was very enjoyable and great guy. One of the funniest men that you'll ever meet away from
down to
the
earth.
Oh my gosh, it's
that kind of thing.
So and make sure if you do have a kid that's a U9, sign him up for his the Mac T Invitational in the summertime at West Edmonton Mall. It's one of the most fun hockey experiences for parents and players, I think.
Well, and it's close to my neighborhood, and let me know, and I'll pop by. There's nothing better than walking through the mall after a few refreshments at a few local places, and a game going on, and then I really sit up like I'm pro scout, and that number 6, he's long strides.
Well, I mean, they have the Max tournament or the Brick tournament, sorry, and that's always fun. It gets so many people start gathering around, and this is like the next week or the week after that one, and so they're a little bit younger, but I love that age of hockey player is the best because they're full of themselves. They know everything, and they're all sweet. they're all great.
Figuring
before
things
they're
out,
jaded and angry.
Joel texts in 780-218-9999. Just got new hockey cards. First pack I opened is Corey Perry Lightning card. LOL. Laugh out loud. Might be a good omen that comes in from Joel. Yeah, it might be. You might want to slab that one. Hold on to it, I guess, for the foreseeable future. Okay, I believe a few people are chiming in, wanting to play trivia. I'll let Trevor get to that. We'll do a sports update here for Clayburn Services. We'll be back after the top of the hour or closer to. TSN's Ryan Rashad from the Got Your Back podcast. Of course, his regular Monday appearance happening around 8:20. We'll have kind of easy trivia. 3 questions too many on the way as well for Park Mazda. That's all ahead of the wrap at 8:40 to round out the show. Lieutenant Eric in for Dustin Nielson this morning. Joaquin Gage as well. And YouTube Trev behind the monitors. Let's get to a sports update brought to you by our good friends at Clayburn Services. I tell you, these fat thumbs of mine is just... NFL Championship Sunday is set as the Chiefs besting the Bills 27-24. Pat Mahomes with a pair of touchdown passes. They'll advance to take on the Ravens Sunday afternoon. Earlier in the day, it was the Lions over Tampa 31-23. Detroit punching their ticket to San Francisco for the Sunday evening game. You can join the entire Edmonton Sports Talk crew for Super Bowl 58 at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. We'll be at Century Casino Fort Road February 11th for the big game. Menu items under $10, drink specials, and your shot at prizes throughout the day. Veteran forward Corey Perry expected to sign later today with the Edmonton Oilers. This according to various reports. TSN's Ryan Rashad confirming the two sides have agreed to a deal. Once again, the official announcement expected sometime later today. TSN's Chris Johnston adding that the deal is for the remainder of the season, expected to include a prorated salary and performance bonuses. Oilers picking up their 13th straight win Saturday night over the Flames. They'll go for 14 in a row tomorrow night at home to Columbus. Other action yesterday, Leafs dumping the Kraken 4-1, and Patrick Waugh, his first win back in the NHL as the Islanders beat Dallas 3-2 in overtime. 6 games around the NHL later tonight. Oil Kings dropping one of the Blades yesterday, 4-1 your final from Rogers Place. Edmonton visit the Rebels on Friday. AJHL action will resume tomorrow with a pair of games, and the Raptors are back in action tonight. They'll host the Grizzlies in one of 8 games around the association. This sports update brought to you by Clayburn Services. They are hiring now. Looking for journeyman bricklayers and all levels of apprentices. Start a new career or take your current one to the next level with their well-established mentorship program. Visit www.clayburnservices.com for more.
The Nielson Show featuring Lieutenant Eric. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk.
7:59. Look at that. Just you are keeping her on.
You're awesome.
And getting a little change,
Do you want me to do 3 questions too many?
Yes.
Or no?
Actually, yeah, that'd be great because I'll do the ticker and all that jazz, and then you can.
Or kind of easy trivia. What am I saying?
Yeah. I get them mixed up too sometimes.
Yeah.
Dustin's always doing it, so it's that's fair. I think we're allowed
break,
a bogey here once in a while, right? Or a mulligan or whatever you want to. Yeah, just get out the divot fixer, and we'll just. But yeah, you can set him up and knock him down here. I think YouTube Trev will be getting somebody on the line here. Of course, kind of easy trivia. Yes, that is for Mr. Mike's, and on the line will be a $20 gift card to Mr. Mike's. Mr. Mike's Steakhouse Casual, where I was for supper a couple weeks back. Delicious. The casualest place ever in the Hampton Inn on the corner of 137th Avenue and Mark Messier Trail. Now with 6 o'clocker lager on tap. Did we get a gentleman?
Yeah, if you want to play kind of easy trivia.
Oh,
I just sorry. I just called someone and they didn't. Oh, wait, never mind. They're calling back. So we're good. We're good.
Okay,
Yep.
That's okay. We'll wait for him. I'm excited for this.
Because I don't have the questions.
No, but I mean, it's kind of easy.
Yeah.
So I would expect, like, hey, what's the hockey team? Like, thing is, whenever I did shows with Tom, he'd come in.
Yeah.
And I mean, he would, he's a TV guy, so he comes in, he's looking good, and he's doing his thing. I'm like, hey, you can do the kind of easy trivia. Okay. But I mean, it would be the most hardest, like, not terribly hard, but after a weekend, too, there's a lot going on. You just want to keep it basic. Keep it right down the fairway. You don't need to give him any, knuckleballs or anything like that. But Tom would always throw in a knuckler here. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, and I'm not prepared for that. Like, let's get a W this morning. Let's get a win. Let's just keep this easy. Kind of easy, like the name. We want to send you to Mr. Mike's. We don't want any Roseanne Bar Cash or whatever she calls herself these days. Yeah, like you're not going to have any Caitlin Clark.
No,
what position does
I shouldn't probably go that way. I mean, that's kind of off the beaten path, so to speak, right? So you'd think that
what are you looking at here? You're still
I'm just trying to get the
spell Patrick Waugh's name, like last name.
Yeah, exactly.
Chris is good to go. He's in the bullpen waiting. Chris with a K, correct? Is that the one? Yeah.
How many questions?
Yes, sir.
5. You got to do it.
I thought I had some time here.
We can tag team it if you want.
Yeah, sure.
Like you can. Yeah. That'll be fun.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll do 1 for 1.
Okay.
You do 1 and I'll do 1.
All right. Okay.
Boy, this.
We'll try this. It might need a longer ticker.
Chris with a K. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Yourself?
That's amazing.
Amazing. Yeah, had a good weekend, eh? Or?
Yeah, it's just everything was great, but I'm just wishing Dusty all the best. Hopefully things work out with whatever issues he has to deal with.
Absolutely, man, and he's doing fine, and we appreciate that, and I'll forward that off to him. Of course, Dustin Nielson away today. He will be also away tomorrow. We expect him back on Wednesday. But Chris with a K, you're good to go. I'm going to start the ticker after Gage reads the first question, and then we're going to go back and forth in an EST first. So hopefully we can all kind of make this thing work and get you the dub and send you to Mr. Mike's. Once again, I'll start the ticker after Gage reads the first question. Chris, you're good to go?
Let's rule.
Who won the Battle of Alberta this weekend?
Edmonton.
Who lost to the Kansas City Chiefs yesterday?
Buffalo.
Who won the game between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Detroit Lions?
The Lions.
What's Corey Perry's nickname?
I'm going to guess the Pest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a pest. That's, of course he is. Chris, you're going to Mr. Mike's. And he got it!
Another 5. Are you kidding me? That's right. Who do you think you are? I am. Get it right.
You can't have a newcomer come in and steal the show.
That's a paddling.
Oh, we've been strong. We're just playing by the rules.
Oh, you better believe that's a paddling.
And I was in Miami with my new beach house. Well, it was a couple minutes from the beach.
That's a paddling.
The first year we took it to the limit.
Take it to the limit.
You cannot come to my house. No, not today.
You cannot come to my house. No, not today.
Flawless performance there.
That was good.
Chris with a K. He's a pest. That's what I've been calling him.
No, that's good. That's good. I thought that was a little tough, though.
I know.
You channeled your inner Gazzola there.
I was like, whoa. Like the lights are on and it got a little bright, and I was like, I need to make, because we're just going again. Here's me all keep it easy down the middle, and we're just going from score results. But I thought when the ticker was getting near the end, I
was going to go Wah.
Wheelers fan.
I was going to go Wah, and then but.
Look, we would have also accepted Super Pest. We would have also accepted Worm. I mean, there are lots of options there to go, and he chose one of the. I mean, that's a win.
Yeah.
Any day of the week. 3 out of 5 is what you need. Chris with the K is off to Mr. Mike's. Check them out today. It's Mr. Mike's Steakhouse Casual, the casualest place ever. The steak bites, the chicken, the whole bit. The guacho steak. Huh?
Oh.
You get a guacho with the, what is that, chimichurri sauce on there. Visit them. Hampton Inn, corner of 137th Ave and Mark Messier Trail. Now with the world-famous 6 o'clocker lager on tap, courtesy of our friends at Alley Cat Brewing.
Have you had it on tap yet?
No, not yet.
Yeah, at the Shamrock at the curling I had.
Well, I'm wondering what's going to be my maiden pint. The first, but I think the Shamrock, because Quinn serves them up, doesn't she, down there?
Yeah.
Yeah, to get the EST draft commissioner serving me my first ever 6 o'clocker lager would be that'd be an emotional. It's one of those pubs you take the picture. You'd have to put the picture on the right behind the pub or whatever like that, behind the bar. So thank you to Chris with the K. Congratulations on your mighty, uncontroversial win this morning. We do have Ryan Rashad coming up at around 8:20 for the Got Your Back Monday morning mandate. I just thinking of that. Do I have his music? And I don't. Dusty didn't leave me his
he can play it.
Theme music. He's a tech-savvy guy.
Yeah.
I'm sure he can have that whipped up and ready to go.
He's ready to play.
He's always ready. So we'll have that coming up at 8:20. That's, of course, ahead of the wrap. And then the Hangout, 9 to 11. Matt Iwanek, Tom Gazzola will get you through. I'm not too sure on the guests this morning. Hopefully one of them show up here, specifically Maddie, not Tommy, but show up a little early and let us know the menu for today's Hangout. Once again, that's 9 to 11. The Lock Shop, 11 and onwards, and it is Oil Stream Day. 2 guys and a goalie. Oil Stream today.
Oil Stream today. Yeah.
So Gazzola will be joining, I do believe, Matt Iwanek, as Dustin Nielson will be away from the studios for the next couple of days. His return is scheduled for Wednesday morning right here on the Nielson Show. 8:06, as mentioned earlier, we'll be warming up throughout the week. Currently, right now, minus 15 in Edmonton, looking for a high. Minus 13 today. You got minus 9 Tuesday, minus 6 Wednesday, minus 3 Thursday, minus 2 Friday and Saturday, and we're looking at a high of plus 1 in a week's time next Monday.
Plus 6 Sunday for Championship Sunday next weekend.
The pipes, I got this tree in my front yard that has a sizable crack going down the center of it. And during that deep freeze, I was like, is that getting bigger? And now that it's warming up, I just don't.
Duct tape.
The Gorilla Glue. Just a spooge of that in there will fix what ails me. Yeah, big vice, exactly. And get your text in as well, 780-218-9999. If you want anything to pass off to Rishaug as well ahead of the Got Your Back Monday morning mandate, we would be happy to do so. Kind of dueling trivia. That text flies in unsigned. That's kind of what it was today. 5 teams leaving the AJHL is wild. We might ask Rishaug's thoughts on that as well, if indeed he has any on that topic moving forward. I know I did reach out to a few people, but it is kind of what would be the terminology here? Keeping a tight lip on the whole affair if you are working within the league and everything. So it's we will see, of course, 5 top teams in the AJ springing to the BCHL, and we will see. I guess we just have to be patient and wait on all that to kind of truck out. It was unfortunate, though, in going back and forth with a texter this morning on just the kids, the players right now, and you're in the midst of a road trip or something here or there. Now your season is just thrown totally askew.
Yeah, that would be kind of, they're kids. They'll be able to handle it. But I just see Shoggy's in the nasty chat saying he's got the tunes covered, boys. So.
Oh, yes. Oh, Ryan, you did it again. Yeah, beautiful man.
It's funny sitting next, because he's a self-proclaimed kind of technology nerd.
Well, I'll vouch for it.
Yeah,
self-proclaimed, but
but he does well with it all stuff. But he's sitting next to him in the press box. He's got his special pad with the special pen that that he makes his notes with when you see everyone else just pen to paper, but Shoggy looks...
It's one of those magnetic sheets that when you pull it over, it disappears again. And you can check this out. It disappears after...
Basically, yeah. He's a poor man's Tony Stark, essentially.
We anticipate his appearance on the show. And again, I mean, nothing short of stuff to discuss. Beating the Flames on a Saturday night, hockey night in Canada down in Calgary should be enough. But everything else that's kind of transpiring from a roster point of view, we'll dive into with him as well. And as he mentioned in the Nasty Chat, he's got the tunes covered. So I eagerly await that. And releasing his hat line as well recently. You saw that? A variety of different hats, visors. I do believe maybe a visor.
I caught an episode, and it's Jason Strudrick's request.
But we should all
You
I
don't know why he wants to go. Maybe we can ask Shoggy why the visor.
It would have to include that the hair visor too, right? Like you kind of plop it on. The frosted tips.
I didn't say it. I didn't say that. But maybe because he's so tall with that, it does look like he's not batting .475 down the power alley.
Not everyone can wear a visor.
No.
So or maybe he's doing the old upside down backwards angle.
Maybe.
Like they do in the video, the rap videos and stuff.
Well, he's a self-proclaimed Peloton master. Why doesn't he get the little beanie with the little thing up? You know,
bike beanie.
Yeah, the bike beanie.
And the full suit.
Suit.
You get a got your back bike Peloton
that's
suit.
Another thing I want to talk to Dusty about. This whole Peloton thing.
It threw me.
Yeah.
I know quite a bit about him, but
I had no idea.
And then he's like, his shock was at our shock.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been doing it. What do you mean you've been doing it for you? I know he was a swimmer. He was swimming before shows years past. But this whole Peloton thing.
Yeah,
whenever I bring up biking too, it's always kind of whatever, you know.
Yeah, because you're biking in the river.
Bike with the birds and the smells and the outdoors. Here he is going through the Alps.
Yeah, of course.
Albeit on his on the screen there or whatever.
He gets to Davos and goes, "Oh, I've biked up that path."
He's tossing that out. It looks familiar around here. Yeah. So let's get into 3 questions too many. It's brought to you by Park Mazda. You can check them out online, parkmazda.ca. Great interactive website. You're up there. It's better than me dealing with Skip the Dishes last night on my failed don't air orders, actually. You head on parkmazda.ca. They're talking to you right away, answering your questions, answering your needs. They are your dealer for life. Check them out today, Park Mazda in the park. Go see dealer principal Mitch Lewicki. Tell him the EST crew sent you. And 3 questions too many. I do have look, I always say this. I have a Twitter account or X account, whatever you want to call it, at Lieutenant_Eric. Where can people follow you on the Twitter or the X?
It's Joaquin Gage 31 on the Twitter machine. You can DM me there for all the insider 2 guys and a goalie knowledge and stuff. I'm very easily accessible.
You do run our F1 fantasy kind of through that account as well, as we have the group chat going on there. So that's kind of how I know you on there.
Yeah, so that'll I send updates on the time remaining.
I love them.
I think we're 31 days out from testing in Bahrain right now. So I'm excited. This is going to be the silliest season in my young F1 fantasy and fandom career.
A lot of fresh faces.
There's
and funny names.
3 guys are signed up through till next year. Mercedes or 5. Mercedes got their guys lined up. Obviously, Max Verstappen's locked up. The McLaren boys are good to go, but everyone else is done after this year. So lots of possible seat movement. Especially in the summertime.
More movement than Brundle making his way upstream through a pit, right?
Oh yeah, he is like a spawning salmon sometimes through there.
And YouTube Trev, please. Where are you at? Where can people find you? Everywhere on the internet. Give me all your social media handles.
Oh gosh, YouTube _Trev on Twitter. I didn't really have Twitter back home, but
you're just getting into it.
Yeah, just getting into it. I don't really post much on it, but every now and then I'll show
throw
up.
an Italian center picture.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, I love it there. So YouTube _Trev, and as my YouTube channel, if you want to check that out as well, it's Above Average. I just did a Corey Perry video last night, and it's doing really good. So go check that out as well.
What's it called again?
Above Average.
Above Average on YouTube. And your Twitter account doesn't always show. You're new to the game.
Yeah, I think that's why it doesn't populate.
YouTube _Trev.
Yeah, YouTube _Trev. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Jordy's telling me people keep editing my Wikipedia page, which is fantastic.
Oh, do we have an update?
Probably.
It was the best part about yours was it's just all point form.
Yeah,
you can tell how it's like edited and just kind of every day a new
I wish
stat line is
had
added.
this back in the day. It would have been a great resume just to hand in. There it is.
Personal life, born in Canada, Gage is of Haitian descent. Yes.
Haitian descent.
Is that, yes?
I could be.
Born in Vancouver, junior career, Portland. Professional, spent majority of his North American career in the AHL and ECHL. I don't know if you want to debate that.
There wasn't a league that I didn't play in. Yeah, that's one. I think Mac T alluded to that at the roast, that you could always tell that Joaquin really loved the game because there was only a few leagues that he didn't play in.
Well, looking at your career statistics, and usually you look at somebody's page of statistics, and there's usually that one team where you have maybe like 3 to 5 in a row. Yours is like, like I'm naming every single team that ever has dressed a hockey lineup in the history of the game.
You can scroll a lot.
It is hilarious. I love it. It is just a cornucopia of teams here on your Wikipedia page. But question number 1 for 3 questions too many, brought to you by the great staff at Park Mazda. Championship Sunday set in the NFL. Who are the 2 teams advancing to Super Bowl 58?
Are you asking me?
Correct.
So the 2 teams that are advancing, what was that, Baltimore and Detroit?
Detroit?
Yeah. They cannot
be stopped.
I don't think so. This is... It's just it's too good a story. We see this in hockey a lot of times. I think it's just the teams that they get on a run, things are going well. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I think they're going to get there.
Yeah, spirit of the question, and that's fine. And again, I Packers what could have been. It's not like Baltimore really, in the end, stuck it to Houston and played out.
Yeah.
But the Niners, maybe leaving a little to be had there. I do find that interesting. It's a great story, though. That's
awesome.
the whole.
Yeah.
I won't meet you there, though. I'll take the easy way out. Ravens and 49ers.
Yeah.
As what is the other conspiracy? The Super Bowl logo in the colors.
Yeah, the
right?
colors. I know, yeah.
I don't know.
Because it is purple and gold, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. A red mixed in. I don't know. I'll go easy. I'm not going to be honest with the Bills out now. I told you, too, off air that I'm kind of relieved in the fact that either going to the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge or being other places where Super Bowl is kind of taking, you're then expected as a fan to kind of be all emotionally in. Whereas now I can just, I can watch Iwanic.
Yeah.
Biting down the nails to the nub and going through his he goes through
does he?
Oh, he has rituals, baby. He
for the Ravens. I know he's a fan, but is it
a ritualistic fan at that.
Gosh.
Like he'll go wearing stuff, putting things where they like.
Is that how the shoulder injury actually happened?
There's got to be something tied in there. But to watch him go through a day, or to watch Dusty pacing around with the Lions that, I will now be a fan of that. And that's what I want.
That would be great if they were. Oh my gosh! Yeah, that's
I didn't want to kind of speak it too much to kind of jinx it, but
okay.
Lions Ravens, I take me there for a Super Bowl, and the locales of Detroit and Baltimore must make the NFL execs madly happy.
I have my dad growing up in the Bay Area, he loved the 49ers, and for some reason, as a kid, I was a Dallas Cowboys fan. I had a Tony Dorsett 33 jersey, and Dwight Clark dashed my dreams. And Joe Montana just crushing the Cowboys back in the day.
Question number 2, Patrick Waugh. Describe how this episode on the island goes. Is it a culminating in a Stanley Cup? Is it some sort of cross-bench brawl again, a la Bruce Boudreau? Or he's aged. This is the second coming of God, or Patrick Waugh, as you said, right? So he's not going to be that fire...
There's definitely going to be a big coaches bump to get them into the playoffs, I think. Do I see success in the postseason? I don't know.
And even moving forward, is he going to be there for? Lou Lamoriello appointment, to me, this is just how the things go there.
This is the thing that you always hear about the GM. They hire their guy, then the new GM comes in and he's not their guy, so then they're on thin ice. So by all accounts, it seems like if this doesn't work, though, I don't see them getting rid of Patrick Waugh first. They'll lose done at this point. So that could be a little bit like Waugh being a little bit more relaxed. Not that he isn't already because of the confidence level. But I can see them really pushing for that one of those wild card spots now.
Well, especially in the East where, and a few of our insiders have joined us and talked about the East and how it's kind of, it's a big, long race, but I don't think you're kind of identifying any particular teams and they're stronger than the others, so it should be pretty interesting to see how it goes along. And a fascinating watch, too, just from... I mean, the NHL is constantly screaming out and crying out for more characters in the game, whether it be on the ice, behind the bench, or wherever. And whether it's Corey Perry signing on here or Patrick Waugh behind the bench with the Islanders, I am all for it. If you have any other questions as well, we do. Well, 8:19. I guess we're getting up against it with old Ryan Rishaug, so we'll bring him in a matter of minutes. Question number 3, though, to round out 3 questions too many, brought to you once again by the great staff at Park Mazda. You can check them out, parkmazda.ca. Let's see here. Here we go. And it's, okay. If Ryan Rashad could make one more piece of apparel, what would you like to see him add to his catalog? Of course, he's going through multiple hat styles. We jokingly said with the visor, a la Jason Strudwick. I guess yours would be the Peloton bike beanie, or do you have something else? I will go, and I love them, but a pair of snap pants, Adidas track style snap pants. I know the Got Your Back logo has kind of got that fist with the 3 fingers or knuckles, and you could have that cascading down the side of the pant. I don't know if you're hinging too much on copyright here with Adidas, but that's a look I would love. Various colors, zipper or button variety. But what about you? Anything else? Shirts, tank tops?
Thongs. Just with the amount of time he spends on the golf course, maybe a golf bag. I got your back nice. Golf bag. Hey. That'd be neat. Just the big, like you said, the fist on there. That would look
maybe
cool.
An exploding golf ball.
Yeah. You have to have the golf balls too. Essentially, that would be good. But I'm looking forward to the Struddy either cycling cap or visor.
To borrow from Slapshot from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. Struddy doing the whole walk there with the modeling off all the clothing line. But I guess Ryan he's ready in the bullpen here. Now he's got his own music he can play. Ryan, if you can hear me, we don't have the ability to play you in. So if you'd like to take it away, the stage is yours.
There we go. Timberlake rocks. What the heck is going on with the Oilers? 13 straight. Are you kidding me? Nielson, you're such a goofball. Ryan McLeod has dramatically improved his game. Well, I'll be eating crow on that one. Did you know I play guitar? I'll play you a song. You broke the story, Ryan. This is what average broadcasting is all about. Rishaug is nothing more than a 6'2" pile of baby shit. The Morning Mandate with Ryan Rashad. I had some extra time, guys.
Wow.
Very nicely done.
Bravo. Live drops just like that. It was like a rap.
That is good.
Yeah. I shouldn't try and do funny. I've been told that by many people that listen to the podcast. They're like, Ryan, don't do funny. Let the other guys do the funny.
I think you bring it. That was a really lighthearted. And again, in the absence of Dustin Nielson, of course, not here, myself, Joaquin, YouTube Trev, I appreciate you coming through. Last second audible and having your music at hand. I know you're a whiz at the tech stuff, and you've been doing all this. The Got Your Back. It's a team of you and then everybody else. But man, you're growing here with the technological side.
I love it, man. Like when I first started doing the pod, I had Zuby, my good buddy in Kelowna, that was the technical end, but I have all the equipment too. So like I've got the Rodecaster here, the same thing, maybe a little bit different gauge than the one that's on your side there, the triple monitors, the switcher. Like I'm a super nerd for all of this technology stuff. So starting a podcast for me, it was like getting to walk into Long and McQuaid and just, drop the company credit card down and just be like, let's do it. That was like one of my favorite days of the whole adventure.
That's an episode in itself. Right?
Should be filming that.
You should be.
Well, no offense to you either, and I'm saying this in the most lighthearted and complimentary way, but if you can pull this off, right? I mean, if people 100%. Are listening, I mean, it seems like everybody sees all this stuff and it's kind of, but you take steps, you cozy up with somebody who might have a bit of interest in it, and boom, bang, boom, you're doing live drops over your own intro, playing it yourself in here.
Yeah. Next thing you know, it was a pretty fun journey. Like Dusty was kind of I don't want to say he was the pioneer, but in the sports space, in a lot of ways he was, right? Like Jesperson did his thing.
Yep.
And then Dusty started his thing with the Oil Stream and all of his podcasts, and with you and Achy Breaky and Gager, you guys and Two Guys and a Goalie and all that. So Dusty was really the one that laid down the model. And it was, and he was a lot of help when I was getting started. So
Glad you mentioned the Icky Breaky podcast as well. Episode 1, Season 3 is live. We go back to Reba McEntire, who will be singing the Star-Spangled Banner at Super Bowl 58 from Vegas. We don't want to say we sent her there, but, it's friends helping friends. Ryan, don't want to waste too much more of your time here this morning, but we can dive into it because there's more than enough to discuss surrounding this team. You had the pod last night. You were one of various people to discuss this. Corey Perry, official announcement expected later today, but walk us through how we got to this point. We talked with Dreger earlier. The contract termination in Chicago, we don't need to get into whatever happened off the ice, but take us from that point and how we get to hear prorated salary expected, all of this other stuff. Just walk us through to present day right now and the expected announcement coming later today.
So there's two conversations to be had in all of this, right? There's the off-ice conversation, and then there's the on-ice hockey conversation. And I think it's okay to have both right now still. Yep. So when the Oilers make the decision that Corey Perry, the player, is something that they have interest in, they then need to embark on a process to make sure that the path is truly clear for them to bring this player in and sign this player and put him back on the NHL stage, right? So what does that due diligence process look like? Well, my understanding is it involves almost daily contact with the agent, multiple conversations with the league, multiple conversations with Corey Perry to get a full understanding of everything that happened, and then potentially even some dialogue with the Chicago Blackhawks as well. So what you don't want is any surprises, right? You don't want to make this announcement and put this player back into the spotlight and then have something pop up that is unfortunate. You definitely don't want that. So there's a certain amount of due diligence that goes into that. The Oilers did that due diligence. We're satisfied, and I believe we'll have an announcement today, which was part of the reporting. If it
I think somebody in the nasty chat's already tracking the jet or the supposed jet. So exactly. Perry Jet is alive and well.
With that due diligence done and the decision made, then it comes down to negotiating with the player, and it's a fit, obviously, and so here he comes. So that off-ice stuff, very relevant, right? Because the Oilers have gone down this path a few times, right? And I would say bringing in a player who there's a bit of baggage there, a bit of a history there, but providing an opportunity for a fresh start. You can go back to Zach Kassian, right? Evander Kane, that was very much the case. I would suggest it was a similar thought process on Jake Virtanen when they did that. And now Corey Perry comes in. But due diligence, you end up getting a Stanley Cup champion Gager that puts Stanley Cup pedigree into that locker room at a bargain basement dollar. And quite frankly, a player that Oiler fans have hated for years, but secretly probably desperately wanted on their team.
I haven't researched it yet, but I've always thought that you need a guy that's been there and done it before. And Corey Perry provides that, especially with some young players. You coming into the league, there's always that you can ask them questions about certain situations that they were in. What was that battle like against certain teams? What was it like winning? What did that feel like? I'd like to look back and see teams that didn't have someone that had won a cup before. Did they actually break through? And I said it before this morning. I just think having 3 players that have won a Hart Trophy before as MVPs of the league is something that you can't. A lot of teams won't be able to match at that point. And
I'll put it in a real example, Gager. You're making a great point. Like when the Oilers went to the third round of the playoffs, remember who they had? They had Duncan Keith on their back end. Now, I'm not saying that's the reason that they went that deep, but I firmly believe Stanley Cup pedigree was something they really felt that they needed to find a way to add. I mean, Fleury would have brought that, right? If he were the goaltender coming in. I'd suggested Pat Maroon, because he has tons of that now and a familiarity. But in Corey Perry, guys, at the dollar figure he's going to be for what he potentially can contribute, he's going to be motivated. He's going to be putting his best foot forward. I mean, his legacy is a great one in this game. It truly is. Triple Gold Club. He's won everything, Memorial Cups. Yep. I mean, he's done it all in this game. It's been a phenomenal career. But what he just went through and what just happened, that is tough. And you got a player here playing for, his own pride, playing for his legacy. He's going to bring his best. This has the potential to be an extremely good ad for the Oilers if everything goes smooth and all goes well.
Well, Ryan, let's keep this thing going here. And we all know the Oilers situation cap-wise and what Ken Holland, how tight his hands are, however be it he did it himself or whatever, but this is the situation today. Corey Perry, you had Evander Kane, of course, coming in kind of in that same fashion and manner. Dylan Holloway back up with the big club Saturday night, banging home an assist, playing quite well before his injury as well. I mean, when you're getting a guy like Holloway, a warm body, Corey Perry adding to the mix, where would you see Ken Holland going now? I know you mentioned Pat Maroon. There was a Marc-Andre Fleury discussion as well, maybe more so with that pedigree, and then maybe you can move away from that. But these are good deals that Ken Holland is unearthing here, and maybe you could say falling into his lap or whatever. Nonetheless, though, it still helps a team that doesn't have a lot of money to spend. So where do you now see this team, who have won now a baker's dozen, doing it again, low-scoring affair against a heated rival on Hockey Night in Canada? Where do you go now to make a slight tinker or improvement? Right side defense, goaltending insulation?
Yeah, we were kicking it around quite a bit last night, and it depends on a couple of things. So the Oilers start playing Dylan Holloway down in the minors at center, and everybody's like, okay, we know they need a fourth-line center, right? It's pretty obvious. If Ryan McLeod's going to be the third-line center, and it looks like they want McLeod to be down the middle. So Dylan Holloway as a fourth-line center, what an interesting option. They play him down there down the middle, then they call him up, and they play him in his first game down the middle, and you know what? He's really good. He was excellent in that game. Here's the problem with Dylan Holloway as your fourth-line center. I think you're going to want him on the ice more than that. I think Dylan Holloway has the potential to blast his way up this lineup if he's going to continue to play the way he did the other night. So I think fourth-line center isn't going to be enough a piece of the pie for what his play is going to dictate. So I could see him back on the wing up higher in the lineup, maybe on McLeod's left side on the third line, right? To me, that would be a good spot. I would be really interested in seeing Dylan Holloway on left, Ryan McLeod in the middle, and Corey Perry over on the other side, or Connor Brown over on the other side. We'll see. Maybe Holloway and Brown get a little something going. So I think that a fourth-line center is still on the to-do list, or potentially could be, because they don't have one of those yet, and I'm not sure that's going to be Dylan Holloway. The interesting one, guys, is the blue line. Gager, how much of an upgrade do they actually need on the blue line? Look at the way Vinny's playing. Kulak, we know what he does in the playoffs. You got Broberg marinating in the minors. Do you really need to go get that D-man? And when we had this discussion last night, what came up was, do they need to trade their first-round pick this year? Like, do they have to? What do they need to go get that would cost them their first-round pick? So, two interesting questions.
I don't think they do, Ryan. I like the structure of their D-man. I think what we've seen definitely from Desharnais is his progression. Right, as a player, he's solidified that role, that penalty killing, tough to play against. If anything, I do think that they do require a defenseman, but kind of that break glass in case of injury kind of D-man.
So depth guy,
a depth, experienced defenseman that you can plug and play. You need someone with experience, right? That's what I'm looking for. Anytime. Only one team gets it right when you try to grab players at this point, and I think messing with the chemistry that they have going right now, that's something I don't think it's necessary. I like it the way it is. I just think you have to safeguard against someone going down because we know.
But let me challenge you for a sec, though, Gager. And this is where the conversation is interesting. This is where it's interesting. They look good right now, don't they? Vinny is playing well, right? That pairing looks good. Look at the quality of competition they've had over the last month and a bit. Now think about playing against the second-best team in the National Hockey League in a 7-game series with the Stanley Cup on the line. Is that enough? I'm not sure. I'm not as sure.
Well, what team are you talking? I have to see the team you're talking. Are you looking at the Avalanche here? Like
sure.
that's.
Let's just say it's Vegas from last year. Drop them in against that exact same team. You know what I'm saying? They look good now, but are they Stanley Cup final good?
Well, I was telling Eric, we just need to get someone or the Oilers need to get someone on LTIR, and then they can really do some damage.
Exactly.
The way things are going, Ryan, like everyone's been playing better. Like they haven't. There is progression in that game. I look at Vegas. Yeah, that D-core lineup is. If you go match them up, the check marks go to the Golden Knights in that case, but. Now, I think with the emergence of, and now, well, we'll see what Perry can bring, right? And they've shored up a lot of the questions in that bottom six, and that was, I think, the focal point over these last few weeks. What about this bottom six? How is it going to shape up before game 83? And I think they've done enough to answer those questions. Like I said, I think as of right now, I am completely fine with this defensive group. But I would like to see that guy, that experienced guy waiting in the wings just in case something happened.
Ryan, I just want to go back to Saturday night as well. Of course, 13 in a row now, another low-scoring affair in keeping the opposition in check, 3-1 your final. I'm going to ask you this question, and we got 2 games this week, and I'm not going to say that they're running on fumes or running out of steam. Maybe your thoughts are different, but Blue Jackets in town tomorrow night. The Blackhawks with a delicious narrative coming to town on Thursday, and then an afternoon affair against the Predators from Rogers Place Saturday afternoon. Rishaug, if you're a coach of either Columbus, Chicago, or Nashville coming in, how are you beating this team right now?
Yeah, I mean, get off to a good start against them, and maybe you can get a couple early. I think the Oilers can be exposed early in games a little bit. Maybe that's part of it. How else can you beat them?
But they come back so well all the time, hey?
They come back so well. They're a tough out right now, Eric, and I think that's the point you're making, is they're a really tough out. As I just quickly check my notes here, my digital notes, I'm just going to take a look and see if I made a note on that front as I obnoxiously do that with my hand in the air and take notes obnoxiously.
It's awesome.
It's an iPad. It's not that revolutionary. It's an iPad. It's not that big a deal. They're tough out though, Eric, for sure they are, man. And 13 in a row, that doesn't happen by accident. But I would not allow a 13-game winning streak to lull you into the impression that this team is a finished product. I wouldn't.
Well, that's kind of with the blue line as well. Like the pendulum swings, right? And it was so bad to start the season. It's so good now. Does that pendulum kind of settle into a middle ground, or is it going to be stuck on this side, right? Like that's kind of the waiting right now?
It's never as good as it looks in the moment. It's never as bad as it feels in the moment. Chances are it lies somewhere in the middle. This Oilers team's not going to win it at this rate for a prolonged period of time through to the end of the year. Now, they might be a top 2 or 3 team in the league for the rest of the year. That could very well be if Stuart Skinner keeps playing the way he is. And these guys, the unbelievable thing, you guys, the part that blows my mind about this whole thing is that they've won 13 in a row, and Connor McDavid hasn't had to go supersonic. Like, he hasn't. He's been good. And I believe he's been taking care of other details in his game, and Draisaitl too, quite frankly. The power play hasn't gone supersonic, and neither have either of the 2 superstars, and they've won 13 games in a row. They never allow more than 2 goals. What is it, 10 or 11 in a row?
Oh, yeah.
Like, this has been built on the back of team defense and goaltending. So when Connor made that joke to Speck the other night, and it was a joke, it was funny, it is real, though. The stories need to be written about this team now, about how much they're able to lock it down, how good defensively they are. And this isn't new. Go look at the way they finished last regular season. They locked it down. They barely gave up any goals in the last 7 or 8 games last year. They know how to do this. They just forgot for a while, and now they're back to doing it again.
Who on the goalie lover on your podcast, Ryan, what did he how did he explain the implementation of the goalies over the next little bit?
Yeah, he was scratching his head. You know what he actually said? You guys are going to laugh at this. I shouldn't make fun of him. He's my co-host, and I love him. And he is brilliant about 95% of his analysis of the game. For some reason, Gager, when it comes to goaltending, this guy is just so far out to lunch. They say that goaltending is voodoo. When Struddy talks about it, you'd think it was complex nuclear algebra. He said they should play Pickard both games this week.
Oh my
That's
God.
what he said last night on the podcast. But his point is he's worried long-term about the load management for Skinner. He's worried that it'll all accumulate. And if you saw what you saw last year, he firmly believes that was fatigue, what we saw in the playoffs. And he's looking and watching at the way they're deploying him, and he's going, they need to be careful here. So I think as much as anything, that was his point.
Do they pose the same questions about Hellebuck, though? Like, are they worried about Hellebuck's?
No. But has Hellebuck had a real good regular season and come out and done that in the playoffs before? Like, look at what Skinner did last year in the playoffs. You have to wonder, Why? Where did that come from? Was it the stage? Was it the pressure? Was it fatigue? I don't know the answer, but is that fair, Gager? Something happened?
Something did happen. I think it was that you could put a lot of the pieces into there. There was first year, I think, is a big part of it. There was expectations he put on himself. I think were big, like trying to possibly do too much. Fatigue, obviously, but yeah, there's more than just playing too much. Looking at how he's playing right now, he looks more and more like a number one consistent goaltender in my eyes. Yeah. The saves he makes at the timing, the how calm he is, and just it filters through the whole team. And so you want him to get.
You mentioned earlier, especially now.
Yeah, you want him to get some rest. I understand that, but I think it would be a huge mistake to put Calvin Pickard in to go in there and. You play Skinner until this streak's over. I don't care. Like that's what you do. Yeah, until that next game, and then throw Pickard in the game after. It's just you don't want Pickard to go in on this streak and then he loses that game and loses the streak. I think I
mean, he's played during this streak. I don't necessarily disagree. I know what you're saying with the staring down this break. You think, well, why not just continue to give him the starts? But I also think, Gager, that part of their responsibility is to continue giving Pickard a chance to stay on top of his game. They need two good goalies, and they've gotten away from giving Calvin Pickard the opportunity to stay at the top end of his game. And I'm not sure that's fair. I know it might be best night to night to be going with Skinner, but big picture, what's best for this team is to have two goalies that are going. And now if Pickard goes in and looks rusty, anyone surprised? Like they didn't give him a chance to stay on top of his game. The last point I'll make about the goaltending, I love what you said about how he's looking more and more like a starter. One of the qualities I think that's really important in a starter on a good team is sometimes you got to stand there for 6 or 7 minutes to start a game and watch everything happening at the other end. He sat there and watched Dan Vladar flopping all over the place, being amazing. And then when it came back down to him, he was good. He was good after having stood around for a while. Then he was fantastic late. Being able to stand there for a while and then be great is a characteristic you need, and we're seeing that in Skinner.
And Ryan, just sticking with hockey, the AJHL releasing a statement on Saturday, informed through an announcement from the BCHL. 5 member teams joining the BCHL for the 24-25 season. Of course, a couple of games canceled over the weekend. Just want to get your thoughts, if any, regarding all of this, and where do you kind of see this maybe going as we move on?
Yeah. This is a tough one, and look, I'll admit I was pretty tied up with all Corey Perry here the last couple of days, but I want to do a little bit more research into what this is truly about. Obviously, there's some issues with Hockey Canada and the regulations that they put on their member leagues, and I think at times it has to do with the ability to recruit younger players, bring in players at a certain age from out of province. There are some restrictions that being part of Hockey Canada's group of leagues, gets put on these leagues. I don't pretend to know what all the details are and all the ins and outs and the subtleties of those restrictions, but clearly they're enough. We saw what happened in BC, right? They went their own way. Now they're starting to pull up. And these aren't fringe teams, guys. I mean, in a lot of ways, this is the heart of the Alberta Junior Hockey League in a lot of ways. So it's tough. I don't know what the fix is. And probably don't know enough about it to have a super strong opinion on it, but I would say it's I don't know if worrisome is the right thing to say. I love the Alberta Junior Hockey League. It's an amazing league and provides great opportunity for so many. And it's down to 11. And you worry about that. You want these leagues to all be healthy, and whatever the pathway is to that, that's what you want.
Well, Ryan, we appreciate your time this morning with what I described as the B team, not necessarily a Gager. Of course, you started many nights in net, right? But appreciate your time. What can people expect from you? The Got Your Back podcast throughout the week. Where can people find you and all that? You got 30 seconds.
Thanks. Well, 30. I don't need 30 seconds. We did a podcast last night. Rob Brown, Jason Strudwick, and I made fun of each other through most of it. It got a little bit off the rails, but tons of Corey Perry chatter on that one. And we're going to drop another one tonight. So I'm not sure. We'll either go 7 or 9 p.m. Mountain Time. We're going to drop another podcast tonight. We're going to do something stupid. Chris Sabunia, our tech, had an idea, wanted to do something called the Zuby Wed game. So I don't know what's in store, but it's going to be in our second segment tonight, and it might be horrendous. So by all means, like and subscribe and tune in and then make fun of us.
Why don't you just get a three-way Settlers of Catan going, Ryan, and do that? No?
Yeah, Twitch it.
Guys, don't mess with the board game crowd.
Okay.
Not a word of a lie. We were having a little fun with the board game crowd. I have a 3,500 word email in my inbox. 3,500 words I got from a passionate board game lover. Thank you. Love the engagement. Holy snap.
You and I still play a little Wildlands too here. We need to find a date, maybe.
Hook it up. Yeah. We're on to some Arma, actually. We've been playing a little Arma Reforger lately.
I'll dust off the headset.
Put that out there.
Yeah.
Buddy.
Be well, man. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, you're always welcome on my squad, Eric.
TSN's Ryan Rashad, the Got Your Back Monday morning podcast. You can hear it every Monday here on the Nielson Show at around 8:20. TSN's Ryan Rashad joining normally Dustin Nielson, who is the show, the Nielson Show. He's off for the next couple of days. Myself, Lynn, Joaquin Gage. Thank you so much for coming by this morning as well.
Thanks for the
Waking up
invite,
early and
man.
all that. The beautiful traffic at this time of day, right?
It was so zen, like the snow and just the darkness. You know,
you don't have to be fully awake. You
no.
And go through it. But J Mill, EST glue guy, will be in the Gage's chair tomorrow. And we'll make do, of course, lock shop, hang out, all that good stuff. Oil Stream, 2 guys and a goalie will still continue through. Dustin Nielson expected back Wednesday morning right here on the Nielson Show as we
time for the rap.
The rap. It is entire.
I love the rap.
You've been waiting for the rap all morning.
Yeah.
The rap with WRAP, as it's not just a freestyling. You have a few pages of material here you wanted to go through.
Yeah. Beatbox.
If you want your place to look as good as ours, visit the team at WilliamHuff.com. In business since 1972, so you know they're incredible what they do. Once again, WilliamHuff.com, or what I would suggest, paying them a visit in person. You ever been by their building? The whole outside is wrapped, so you don't know where the door is. You're kind of like, is this the door? Is that the door? So you finally find the way to get in. You get in there, and nice staff. And look, you don't know what all they can wrap. So if you have any questions regarding that, and you're like, they probably can't, go pay them a visit. Check them out online, but I suggest paying them a visit. Talk to them in person and see what they can do for you today. Once again, the Dream Team wrapping this place. They do Rogers. They do all the big guns in town.
I saw them do it at Rogers.
Well, in the Dream Team, right?
Yeah.
They came in here. Couldn't believe it. But the wrap for William Huff. We love him. What did you learn on the show this morning outside of the traffic's very good at 5:30 a.m.?
What did I learn?
No real breaking news. I mean, I don't know. I did put Perry Jet out there as a hashtag. I don't know if he could be here already. I don't know breaking things, but
no, I didn't. You know, I didn't really learn too much. You know what? I learned that getting in here early I did it before, but today seemed a little bit easier. I don't know. I wasn't. My heart wasn't racing. Being late for this morning, first time coming onto the show and filling in for Dusty, I was a little bit more nervous. I learned something about myself this morning, I guess, is what I did.
Well, and I learned that Rishaug uses an iPad to jot down. It is an iPad, correct?
Yeah, I guess. I thought it was one of those fancy note-taking where you write it and then it just lays it all out.
The off-market, off-brand thing. Like it exists on its own. It's got a weird plug-in. It doesn't. It takes 6 months.
But see how that thing was loaded up? Like he had a lot of notes on
ready to go. And he spared no expense this morning with the playing in his own intro and dropping some.
You know what? I learned that I want to go to Long and McQuaid with Ryan Rashad.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, I'd love to go.
Sports trip of a lifetime.
Yeah, it'd be like taking your kids to Toys R Us back in the day, probably.
Kind of the Guy Fieri, the grocery games.
Yeah,
running through there. Yes, and we thank Ryan Rishaug, Mike Tanier, Darren Dreger for joining us as well, guests this morning. And also we had a few new pins we're going to put on the map. I'll get Practicum Zacticum. Zacticum?
Zacticum? Yeah.
That's the one. We'll get him pinning a few of these. We're going to Australia. We're going to Mexico. We're going to Germany. Yeah, I like getting off the continent a bit. It's
great.
Nice. Yeah. So we'll be putting those pins in as well. Text of the day for A&W. I did have the Tommy Rubella with the clever play on my last name, which doesn't get spoken of quite a bit around here. I might be giving it to him. Did you see any texts or anything that caught your eye? in the inbox today?
Just that the one that was funny. It was early in the nasty chat, but it said Dusty lost all his hair. I chuckled at that one.
Well, and yes, it has nothing to do with the Detroit Lions. He's very happy that they're moving on to the NFC Championship game, but a family affair for one Dustin Nielson, and again, everything is good. So thank you for sending your texts and your well wishes to him. He will be back, scheduled to be back on Wednesday morning. Yeah, I'm giving it to Tommy Rubella this morning. Why not? Good for you, Tommy. Love you. Thanks for including me in your text. I'll selfishly give you the prize, $20 to A&W. I haven't done a rap in a long time. Like I'm always asked the rap question, so I think, what are you watching tonight?
Oh, right. Geez, I usually don't watch anything on.
What do you got? You got a show going on or something? I've been toying with the notion of watching The Sopranos again. My wife wants to really watch it again. She watched it on her own, then I watched it on my own, and now we're kind of at that point where you've forgotten the details and everything, and you can kind of meet again and go back and watch it together. But
yeah, it's kind of a slow night in sports tonight, isn't it? So
yeah. We got Raptors and Grizzlies. It's always a romantic matchup in those two franchises. Memories of big country. And but in terms of the NHL tonight, you got Boston at home to Winnipeg. Vegas and Jersey, Panthers, Preds, Arizona at home to Pittsburgh, Blackhawks visiting the Canucks, and the LA Kings at home to the Sharks. So a few to choose from and toy around with there.
The Canucks always interest me. There's a team that I'm waiting for something bad to happen. Too much has gone well for them. I'm happy for Canucks fans. They're probably ecstatic right now. They're a little crazy, but you don't win without a little adversity throughout the year. And that's not good.
I know the Bills lost 2 yesterday, and again they couldn't, no big plays, lots of things. However, 5% chance of making the postseason or whatever it was, like a gargantuan hill to climb, and they did it. And I kind of look at this Oilers team going through that desert earlier in the season, like all of that. That's got to be some good mojo moving forward. And you put that, you tuck it into the tool belt, and away you go. They're going to lose more games. They're not going to win all every. No. And I'm not in here this morning trying to lay a curse to the streak. Who cares? You want to see they're going for a Stanley Cup, and to get that, you have to be in the playoffs. And earlier on in the season, they weren't anywhere near that. I just think you look at everything that transpired. You change the coach. I mean that is chapter 1 of an incredibly good story being written.
Well, especially the talk of the summer, was like this thing is a wagon this year, and the wheels completely fell off. So, and it's in the back of your mind, very recently we were number 32 in the league, so they definitely don't want that to happen again. And I always find you can always draw upon personal experience of stuff that happened recently, aside from in the past, right? So. That's definitely something in the back of their minds that they don't want to repeat.
The game at Carolina, and I think somebody had the GIF on Twitter the other day and just tapping each other in the leg when it was 5-1 or something.
Yeah.
Those moments that they
that third period in Carolina where, and even Dusty and I were talking, I remember we were saying that it doesn't really mean a lot because Carolina had it in the bag and stuff, but they did play. And if you really look at it, when Carolina came here, I thought, okay, let's see how this thing turns out. And the Oilers won 4 periods of hockey against the Carolina Hurricanes. And at that time, still, Carolina's a very good hockey team, and that impressed me a lot. So, yeah, they've definitely turned a corner here. You can't say they haven't. Jeez, it's funny now shoveling snow in the driveway, and the neighbors are going, how about them Oilers? Like, it's gone from
just
not
the
saying,
tone and the pitch.
It was funny just to hear everyone around the mean streets of Terwilliger talking about the Oilers now.
Great big country reference from Alan. Thank you very much. Anytime you can squeeze an old Brian Reeves into the show, you take that chance. Spicy Dill Pickleberg from Zedmo. Yes, text for the day going out to Tommy Rubella, and it's courtesy our good friends at A&W. The A&W Spicy Dill Pickle Mama Burger is back, and now it's available as a Buddy Burger. Gager, I do prefer the Buddy Burger route. They have a little bit of that different toasted bun, minus the sesame seed. It's nice and soft, a little hot, and just the right size. You can hammer a few of those into you.
I do like the Matzo Burger.
Matzo Burger.
That's
best burger in the burger family.
Gosh,
I tell you, you can have your mama's, teens, papa's, the whole bit. I'm mozza all day and every day, minus the tomato.
Oh, I love the tomato one.
I'll give you mine then. You can double it up there. Starting just $3.99 for the spicy dill pickle mama burger. These grass-fed beef burgers are topped with pickles, an onion slice, real cheddar cheese, and slathered in creamy, spicy dill pickle sauce. Available for a limited time only at A&W. Tommy Rubella, congratulations, $20. You're going to A&W.
This D. White he said in the Nasty Chat, basically, if you play in the BCHL, she heard that you're not eligible to play in the World Juniors for Canada. How does that make Hockey Canada better?
Well,
that wouldn't.
It doesn't, and that's where the divide is now.
Yeah,
like that's where the whole.
If they're only drawing upon, it's just a weird control thing. Like,
well, what do you? And as a young player too, I mean, you have a lot of at that level expectation, curiosity. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? Is U.S. College, WHL, BCHL now, Junior A. Does representing Hockey Canada even mean anything to you maybe? Now, I know we grow up with everybody, that you want to don the Maple Leaf at whatever level and whatever, but for some of these kids, maybe if you want to go a route and you want to get looked at earlier than others, or you want to go maybe it's not as attractive to play for Team Canada, dare I say, as everybody likes to think it is, right?
Well,
for your personal career.
Yeah. Dusty asked Cass and I on the last two guys, when did you know that you had a shot at possibly making it to the NHL or whatever? And it for me, it really wasn't until my first year playing junior in Portland. I was like 18, right? So guys were talking about getting drafted, and I was like, oh, geez, you get drafted? I was a little bit oblivious to the whole thing, but things have changed. Young players have agents when they're getting recruited so young, at the possibilities of these guys hitting it big later on. So they're going to go to the place where the most eyes are on them, right? So if this league is essentially an all-star league, you're going to get a lot of the top-end talent wanting to go there and show off their skills to everyone. You want to get, and that the pathway is vast. Like, it still has your NCAA eligibility, U Sports. Even if you were you wanted to go to the Western League or Ontario League or Quebec League, there's going to be eyes on you there to get drafted, right? It's a showcase. They might as well call it the Showcase BC Junior League.
It doesn't need to funnel through one particular avenue all the time, and now they're betting on themselves and going their own way. And as Shaggy mentioned too, these aren't just a handful of teams.
No.
This is the
big
top
dogs.
clubs to kind of go, and that will mean, I don't know. We'll try to get more on this, and obviously, and people around the league not commenting too in depth on this, and understandably so during this time, but. Yeah, well, we'll just see where this thing kind of trucks on. I do want to mention as well the Popeyes studio here, the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen studio. You can pick up your Oilers Collector's Cup at all Popeyes locations. Right. I don't know if the Hyman one is done as of yet. I know we were kind of getting to the latter days, but swing by Popeyes near you. Ask them which cup they got. For $16.99, you'll get a classic chicken sandwich, nuggets, Cajun fries, medium drink. Outside of the cup, the dipping sauce, and one of the 4 Oilers Collector's Cups. So swing by Popeyes today, tell them Edmonton Sports Talk sent you, and get yourself hooked up with a nice chicken meal and one of those Oilers Collector's Cups. Hangout coming. Who's on the hang? Hood? Connor Hood? Love it. Jason Hill's coming up on the Hangout. Tommy in today too, is he? Cock practice. So Tommy will be at the rink. Keep an eye for some updates as well through Edmonton Sports Talk at YEG Sports Talk on Twitter, our Instagram pages as well. Do we break? Are we good time?
Yeah. I think that's good. It was a solid show. I very much.
You
guys.
In here, you fixed everything. You got this thing humming, and I want to thank you very much. Might treat you to matzo burger, maybe later.
Oh snap! Yeah, I've had a few of those. Not gonna lie, lately we've got the gift card. So yeah. No, that's good. It was a great show. You guys crushed it. Had a lot of fun.
Thank you to YouTube Trev behind the monitors. He's the one that keeps this thing, the pulse going. For Joaquin Gage, special guest host this morning. I want to thank you. It was. No, I don't know. Say short notice. You had less than 24 hours. So that
I was excited but you were sick over the first time we were supposed to.
I had everything. I was like, this is gonna be great.
But the one thing, probably the biggest thing that I missed from the old show was our banter just those few minutes before I went on with Dusty, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
One day we'll get.
I know Coach Mike misses your intro immensely and still chimes it in the odd time when you do join us on your regular.
A guy
appearance on
drove
the
by
show,
me
but-
the other day
Eddie.
and saw me and drove. Joaquin.
It's an ambulance going by or something, right? But EST glue guy Jason Milne, I do believe, is maybe you can find him on that's a man of many handles, hey? Old J Milne.
It is weird trying to find him. Yeah, he is. Jason, yeah.
He'll be by in tomorrow morning alongside myself and Dustin Nielson, expected back Wednesday morning. Hang out with Matthew Iwanek coming up next. We got the Lock Shop following that with Andrew Hustler-Patterson. He's jacked up this morning. Chiefs win. Caleros in the Swift box. And we also got the oil stream coming up after that with Tom Gazzola and Matthew Iwanek. For myself, Joaquin Gage, YouTube Treb, Darren Dreger, Mike Tanier, Ryan Rishaug. Thank you very much for listening, watching. Have yourself a great Monday afternoon. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning.